Right. Well, on my end it says we're live, so if that's the case, yay. Good evening, everyone. I do apologise if I am a minute late. It was not my intention. I'm waiting for Trups, that's what it is. I assume he's at work, or on his way home from work. So it's just me for a moment. Also, what just happened to the screen there? I saw that. Hope everyone's well. Hope everyone has had a fantastic week. So I will say hello to everyone now. Hello, Cyrene. Hello, Always Lost on Nothing Else. See, you still number all your comments. That's actually pretty cool that you keep count. Hello, Great Sky Troll Anti-Drama. Hello, Gemma Deering. Hello, Leona. Hello, Karma. Hello, Diskanar. I noticed you as well. Let's see others. Dask East. Yes, Iceman Northland, Spider Geronimo, Spoonkey, hope you're all well. Hello, Jason Woods. It's been an interesting week. We were considering doing this last night when it was live, but I didn't have enough notice. So I couldn't ask my sister to cover me at the one of the places I do in the morning, work-wise. That is, hello, Lana, Ray Jane, and Riverwolf. And, yeah, so we're doing it now instead, which is fine. That's going to be good fun, isn't it? Yes, blame Trups. I don't know where he is. Yeah, no, he's still not here. Oh, this is going to be concerning. I mean, yeah, don't worry about it. So I figured what I'll do, I will talk about some of the more recent chair fix. No, actually, I've ordered a new one, and it'll be here tomorrow. So I'm on... My chair broke. I'm on a dining room chair. My back is in agony because there's no support. And so, yes, I have to wait till tomorrow. Anyway, in the UK, there have been some rather irritating Hello Mr. Anonymous and Joe. Irritating coronavirus things going on because one side says tier means assessed responses. The other side... in English politics this is, says, no, circuit break before Christmas or people can't spend Christmas together. Hello, Duck Dog, hope you're well. And then you have Wales and Scotland, who are a little different in how they're doing this. So Mark Drakeford, he is the Welsh First Minister. And so he introduced... He introduced a new policy, a drastic policy, even though he's called it a firebreak lockdown, by the way. It's harsher restrictions that run from now until November the 9th, which has forced the majority of retailers to shut down entirely. But their infection rate is low. It's there's no reason for it. So there are a number of ministers who are trying to explain now what is and is not essential. So the new lockdown rules, for example, mean that supermarkets can only sell what they determine to be essential items. Food, essentially. Hair care products, bedding, clothes. No. That's not essential, everyone. Even though we're getting into the time of the year where people will buy colder weather gear. No. You don't get that this time of year. Don't be silly. You're being nuts. Pubs and restaurants are closed. That's not essential, of course. You can only leave the house to shop for food, medicine, or take exercise, which was what the first UK lockdown was. COG is live as well. I understand. Hello, Tracy Stewart and Patriarch of the Sith and Zemgoa. That's in the right place. Send me to Omegon. Well, thank you very much, New Chair, for that very generous donation. Household mixing has been banned indoors and outdoors. Most secondary school children now stay home, which is after half-term ends on October 30th, so 9 days indoors or 10, I can't remember. So work from home again and wear face masks indoors and on public transport, which, by the way, does make it seem like we're having to... Well, people in Wales would have to wear them all year round, which is a massive overstep in his way of dealing with things, to the point where I saw pictures of supermarkets. They were covering any aisle that wasn't essential with plastic sheets to indicate that you cannot use any of it or purchase any of it. I'm sat here thinking, I see lots of pillows underneath that. You're going to have police officers enforce this. You're going to have people with trolleys block you from going in and buying things that they have determined to be non-essential. This reminds me of something else. Social engineering is pretty accurate, to be honest. It's got to be pretty bad that you've determined what is and is not essential. It seems silly. I think they're just trying to make it's a silly way of jumping the gun. I know why he's done it, because he wants to be seen as the first government to, well, I say government, devolved administration, to pounce on something like this. Hello, Ken Lee and Mad Max. Hope you're well. So Nicola Sturgeon has also, for Scotland, been, let's just say, causing more issues as well, because she's introduced a 5-tier lockdown system for Scotland, because the UK government's 3-tier system was not good enough. She wanted a little more wiggle room, and because she's like I have no idea what that is, sorry about that, every typical contrarian who has to do something different cause. So she has, apparently held out what she's dubbed an olive branch to hospitality businesses. But that olive branch is a load of crap. So I'm going to quickly tell you what the 5 tiers are. Level 0, as close to normal as possible. So broadly in line with the situation in Scotland, which was back in August when the virus was, air quotes, suppressed. At this level, people can meet indoors with 8 people from 3 households, and most businesses would be open safely with safety measures in place. At level 1, household meetings reduced to 6 people from 2 households, but there would still be a reasonable degree of normality overall. Level 2, restrictions are broader. So these are basically what is currently happening outside of Scotland's central belt, which includes the limitations on hospitality and no gatherings inside people's homes, even though it's been proven over and over again the hospitality sector is not the largest contributor to the problem. Level 3. So this includes hospitality being closed completely, but restaurants can be open partially. Levels 2 and 3 apply for relatively short periods to bring transmission under control. It's their version of a circuit breaker. At level 4, full lockdown essentially. She doesn't want to go back to this situation. Oh, you're here, Trups. Hey.
Yes, I am. I wasn't going to stop you mid-speak.
I didn't hear the alert. My apologies.
That's all right.
Yes.
I'm professional, as you can tell.
It's all good.
Professionally late.
It's all good. How are you today, anyway?
I'm all right. I was trying to finish up something at work, and then I realized what time it was, and I was like, "Oh no, I gotta go."
All good. Did you get it finished at least?
Most of it. There's a hard drive copying at work right now, but we'll
Have
get
you
to that when it's done.
accessed the Discord video that I've shared?
Yes, I'm pulling it up at the moment. I just poured myself my drink.
Oh, right. I assume you looked at the rules.
Yes.
All right.
I
don't think we'll be able to get through all of this, but we can try and get through some of it.
Yes. I was worried because I had also pulled up some of the other
Yeah, I saw the other ones and I'm like, nah, I'm not doing that.
I had pulled up a couple of them myself, and I was like, I had seen some, and I thought, no, I'm gonna die.
These are the ones we're going to do a little drinking game with this debate. The rules are: drink when Trump interrupts, boasts he beat COVID, brings up the Hunter New York Post story, fails to denounce white supremacists, and tells a lie. You drink when Biden says, look, brings up Trump's tax returns, uses BLM as a buzzword. What's that? Hems and haws on his climate change. I don't know what that means.
I'll tell you in a second. Hang on, I'm pulling up the thing.
Okay, insults Trump. So, yeah. There's also drink when either say the United States of America. They failed to answer the question or change direction mid-sentence. I can't do the chug one, I'm afraid, so I'm going to ignore that one because I've only got shots.
Have you pulled up the entire debate?
I've got the C-SPAN one, yeah. It's the only one I've got. Oh, hang on, I could...
Can you repost that link for me?
I don't
know. I could post it in the chat for everybody.
Give me a second. I'd have to switch back. I'd have to switch.
While he does that, I'm going to pour myself the other drink I have. Hang on.
Oh, that's going to look professional, isn't it? Yep. I will get the C-SPAN link. I'll get a timestamp as well, because I noticed it doesn't start right at the beginning. I'll put it in the political recap. That's the debate from 19 hours ago. And in the chat, this is the C-SPAN video. I don't know if it'll get claimed. I don't care. Normally these get demonetized. I should probably turn monetization off, actually. Be a lot easier, wouldn't it? Full screen that. Change back to here. Yeah, so I'm not going to do the chugging rules because I can't do that one in good conscience anyway. So there is one here. Finish your drink if a COVID positivity close to either is announced, or if Trump says the pandemic is over. Now, that one's a bit far-fetched. There's a bit of a stretch on that one, but we'll go for as long as we can be bothered, to be honest. But it's only an hour and 59, and we're 26 minutes in, so we might be all right. I have, for the sake of it, I actually should pull up the chat because I can't see you guys.
Now, to you all in the chat.
I'll just finish my thing quickly. So I'm drinking candy cane gin from Christmas that I've got half a bottle of. If I run out, I will just reach up for my probably Jameson's because it's the easiest one to drink. As you were then, Trups.
Knob Creek for me, by the way.
Good choice.
Yep. I'm
actually finally using that bloody titted shot glass my sister got me as a gift from Scotland.
Oh, good. So, as everyone kind of is very well aware, this happened yesterday, and we didn't do it live. That was partially my bad. I didn't tell Meg in time, and life gets ahead of us, and so we didn't do it.
We're honoring our promise, though.
This is more fun anyway than trying to recap it.
It's also fun because people do the football. They ignore the results. They don't want to know until they get to watch it. The Super Bowl, especially. I've seen the hashtags on Twitter and I haven't looked at it. But I did see a few articles with obviously very sensationalist titles, and that's interesting. And early in this, I will preface this. I've timestamped it at 26 minutes essentially, and she's already said that the mics will be cut off if you carry on talking beyond your time limit. And I'm sat here like, oh my god, you're actually going to control this. That's boring. I could be wrong, though.
All right. I'm all set.
Right, do you want to press play then?
Did you ever link it?
It's in the...
there it is. Yes, yes.
So at 26 minutes exactly. So if you want to say pause, just say pause, and I will immediately hit pause on mine. Unless you want to watch it on your end, and then I don't have to screen share it. It's up to you.
Well, I'm watching it on my end, and then the screen share can... it doesn't matter. I'm watching it on my end anyway.
Just say pause, okay? When you want it to, okay? All right, I'll hit now.
You're ready? Let's start. And we will begin with the fight against the coronavirus. President Trump, the first question is for you. The country is heading into a dangerous new phase. More than 40,000 Americans are in the hospital tonight with COVID, including record numbers here in Tennessee. And since the two of you last shared a stage, 16,000 Americans have died from COVID. So please be specific. How would you lead the country during this next stage of the coronavirus crisis? 2 minutes, uninterrupted.
So, as you know, 2.2 million people modeled out were expected to die. We closed up the greatest economy in the world in order to fight this horrible disease that came from China. It's a worldwide pandemic. It's all over the world. You see the spikes in Europe and many other places right now. If you notice, the mortality rate is down 85%. The excess mortality rate is way down and much lower than almost any other country. And we're fighting it, and we're fighting it hard. There is a spike. There was a spike in Florida, and it's now gone. There was a very big spike in Texas. It's now gone. There was a very big spike in Arizona. It's now gone. And there are some spikes and surges in other places. They will soon be gone. We have a vaccine that's coming. It's ready. It's going to be announced within weeks, and it's going to be delivered. We have Operation Warp Speed, which is the military is going to distribute
pause
the vaccine.
1 second. I have to pause it because of copyright issues. I have to do that.
That's fine. I actually didn't see the first 10 minutes yesterday because I had gotten up and then I forgot what time it was. I do that a lot, apparently.
Fair enough. So he essentially is flexing about how the rates are going down in places where it had spiked. Is that true?
I mean, for the most part. After all, as bad of an example as it is, when Anthony Fauci says that the infection rates are going down in New York City.
Okay.
Yes, that's true. However, the criticism from Republicans is usually they didn't have to be that bad in the first place.
Do you think
so? Technically, there are areas that were hit really hard that are having lower infection rates. Oh, and the death numbers. The death numbers are remarkably better than what they used to be.
Yeah, we talk about in our country the infection rate mostly. We don't focus on the death rate. The percentages are vastly off. It's just so different. I'm not saying that to try and take away from the fact that people are dying. That's obviously unacceptable. But you're really not focusing on the right part here.
No.
Okay, I'll carry on with Trump's opening statement.
I can tell you from personal experience that I was in the hospital, I had it, and I got better, and I will tell you that I had something that they gave me, a therapeutic, I guess they would call it. Some people could say it was a cure, but I was in for a short period of time.
Does that count as boast he beat COVID?
Okay, chat. I paused, by the way.
Okay.
Does that count? This will take 30 seconds to get to them. Does that count as him saying he defeated COVID? What's the rule on that one, by the way? Is that
it says boasts he beat COVID, which technically the wording is, boasts, which means could brag about or could simply say outright.
Yeah.
So I argued that it does count, but I say we keep going and wait for the chat to.
Okay. We'll wait for the
I got
chat.
better
I'll
very
press play
fast,
now.
or I wouldn't be here tonight.
Okay.
And now they say I'm immune. Whether it's 4 months or a lifetime, nobody's been able to say that, but I'm immune. More and more people are getting better. We have a problem that's a worldwide problem. This is a worldwide problem. But I've been congratulated by the heads of many countries on what we've been able to do.
All right, fine. 3, 2, 1. Delicious. Pressing play.
If you take a look at what we've done in terms of goggles and masks and gowns and everything else, and in particular ventilators, we're now making ventilators all over the world, thousands and thousands a month, distributing them all over the world. It will go away, and as I say, we're rounding the turn, we're rounding the corner. It's going away.
Okay, former Vice President Biden.
Right, I'm going to pause it before we start with Biden.
Okay.
Okay. What, as far as an opening statement goes, when it comes, I have no idea what that is. I don't have. Oh, I know why I don't have a thingy here, do I? Yeah, my donation's behind the video, isn't it? Yeah. Always lost on nothing else. This will be fun. Drink with responsibility and not when Joe stutters. Thank you very much. Always lost on nothing else for £3.83 donation.
God. If you had the Joe Stutters on your drinking list, you would die. Nick Rekieta did a drinking game last night, and he was so trashed.
Yeah. I'd rather not have alcohol poisoning.
Yeah.
I wanted to pause it. So, as far as answering that question go, what do you think of Trump's answer?
I mean, I actually think that it was a fairly straightforward answer. I mean, he tangented to talking about his personal COVID, but it's cursory related.
Yeah, there is a connection. I do think so. If I remember correctly, with when he had these debates with Hillary. He went all out on the attack in, I think, 2 of them, didn't he? Or 1? And then on the last one, he was so almost, by comparison, quite... Was it grown up? Or was it a different debate I'm thinking of?
A little bit, yeah.
And I think that answer is very... For what... Yeah, I'm sorry, but I want to see Trump be a massive cock to him. Because it's funnier to me. I'm English. I don't care. It's funny. But it's interesting. I know...
A lot of the Trump war room told him to cut it out.
I think if they want to win, he has to. And he is actually, although he can be a massive dick and still be very funny, to win this election, I do think he has to show he can be better.
Right.
So, yeah. Okay, I'm going to press play on Biden.
Also,
go on.
if we make like short quips, I don't necessarily think that we have to keep pausing or else we'll really never get through it.
You're right.
I think we should just keep it playing in the background as we talk over it.
That's quite all right by me then. Pressing.
Right,
oh, no, I'm
ready?
in the bloody chat. Press play.
To you, how would you lead the country out of this crisis? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
220,000 Americans dead. If you hear nothing else I say tonight, hear this. Anyone who's responsible for not taking control, in fact, not saying I take no responsibility initially, anyone who's responsible for that many deaths should not remain as President of the United States of America. We're in a situation where there are 1,000 deaths a day now, 1,000 deaths a day, and there are over 70,000 new cases per day. Compared to what's going on in Europe, as the New England Medical Journal said, they're starting from a very low rate. We're starting from a very high rate. The expectation is we'll have another 200,000 Americans dead between now and the end of the year. If we just wore these masks, the president's own advisors have told him, we could save 100,000
But
lives.
the majority of those that have been infected have been
circumstance
caught
where the
wearing
president
masks.
thus far
Masks don't work as
still
well as people
has
think.
no
Mostly speaking,
plan,
words still travel.
No comprehensive plan.
Also, wouldn't that
What I
also
would
mean
do
that
is make
100,000
sure we
would
have
still die?
Everyone encouraged to wear a mask all the time. I would make sure we move in the direction of rapid
pretty true.
testing, investing in rapid testing. I would make sure that we set up national
Oh, hang on.
standards as to
I'm
how
going
to
to pause for a second. You got a donation. Socky, Meg, read your Streamlabs. I probably said something witty, but we won't know unless you look. I have to go pause.
Yeah.
Streamlabs. I do apologise.
Somebody said drink in the chat, and I don't know why.
I'm going to press play on the video and I'll go and
open
find
up
out.
schools and
while that's
open up
playing.
businesses so they can be safe and give them the wherewithal, the financial resources to be able to do that. We're in a situation now where the New England Medical Journal, one of the most serious journals in the whole world, said for the first time ever that the way this president has responded to this crisis has been absolutely tragic. And so, folks, I will take care of this. I will end this. I will make sure we have a plan.
I think Socky just
President
trolled
Trump,
me because
I'd
he
like
does no
to
donation.
follow up with
He's
you
a dick.
in your comments. You talked about taking a therapeutic. I assume you're referencing
Right, I'm going to pause for 1 second. Socky, you're a dick. There we go.
Regeneron. You also said a vaccine will be coming within weeks.
Yes.
Is that a guarantee?
No, it's not a guarantee, but it will be by the end of the year. But I think it has a good chance. There are 2 companies, I think, within a matter of weeks, and it will
that
be
the
distributed very
remdesivir
quickly.
thing?
Can you tell us which companies?
Johnson & Johnson is doing very well. Moderna is doing very well. Pfizer is doing very well, and we have numerous others.
Of course, Pfizer.
Then we
Pfizer
also
are a
have
big
others
company.
that
They'll
we're
make
working on
Viagra
very
as well
closely
in
with
that.
other countries, in particular
Pfizer? I
Europe.
think
Let
they're
me
a
follow
very
up
big
with
company.
you.
They are.
because
They
this
have a
is new
branch in
information. You have
town
said
next
a
to
vaccine
mine.
is coming soon, within weeks now.
and,
Your own
and
officials
just
say
imagine,
it
oh,
could
we'll
take
fix
well into
coronavirus
2021
and we'll
at
give
the
you a
earliest
stiffy.
for enough Americans to get vaccinated. And even then, they say the country will be wearing masks and distancing into
That's a-
2022. Is your timeline realistic?
No, I think my timeline is going to be more accurate. I don't know that they're counting on the military the way I do, but we have our generals lined up, one in particular that's the head of logistics, and this is a very easy
I just want to read the chat for a second. The video cuts are because I had to tab out. That is my sincerest apology. I'll press play again.
distribution for him. He's ready to go as soon as we have the vaccine, and we expect to have 100 million vials.
I don't
As
know
soon as we
enough
have the
about
vaccine,
the
he's ready to
vaccine
go.
stuff.
Vice President Biden, your reaction, and just 40%
I know there
of
were
Americans
rumours
say they
of
would
some
definitely
being,
agree
but
to
then
take
we
a
hear,
coronavirus
in the UK
vaccine
especially, we hear
if it
fuck
was
all
approved
about
by
it.
the government. What steps
And then others
would
are
you
saying,
take to give
but
Americans
this will kill
confidence
people.
in a vaccine if it were approved?
Make sure it's
Well, the
totally
vaccine.
Yeah.
transparent.
Well, everyone's afraid
Every
of that.
scientist
That's why
will see
a
it.
lot of people
No,
aren't
look
like
at it.
intrinsically
Go through all the
going, yeah,
processes.
okay,
And
we're
by the
gonna,
way,
we're just going to take
This is the
whatever
same
the
fellow who told you
government
this was
tells
gonna
us
end by
to. That
Easter
sounds
last
very
time. This is
like
the same fellow who told you that, don't worry, we're going to
Orwellian.
end this by the
You
summer.
know,
We're about
like
to
a
go
lot of
into
people
a
don't
dark
feel
winter,
comfortable with that,
a
and I
dark
get
winter.
it. But also at
And
the
he
same
has
time,
no clear plan, and there's no prospect
mean,
that there's going to be a vaccine
got a better
available
idea?
for the majority of
No,
American people. before
UK
the middle
government
of next
generally
year.
isn't very
President
open
Trump,
about
your reaction, he
this
says
stuff,
you
so
have
it's
no
quite
plan.
We're going to have a dark
worrying.
winter at all. We're opening up our country. We've learned and studied and understand the disease, which we didn't at the beginning. When I closed and banned China from coming in heavily infected, and then ultimately Europe, but China was in January. Months later, he was saying I was xenophobic. I did it too soon. Now he's saying, oh, I should
think
have,
Gemma
I
is,
should have, moved
tracking
quicker.
all of the
but he
looks.
didn't move quicker. He was months behind me, many months behind me. And frankly, he
Don't
ran
shake
the
your head,
H1N1
Biden. You did say that.
Swine flu.
Even I knew
and
that
it was
one.
a total disaster, far less lethal, but it was a total disaster. Had that had this kind of numbers,
what timestamp are you at, by the way?
7.
I'm at 3302. I've just paused it at 3302 if you want to drag yours there to make sure we're in line.
Yep, I'm good.
Right.
Go ahead.
Pressing play.
100,000 people would be dead right now, but it was a far less lethal disease. Look, his own person who ran that for him, who, as you know, was his chief of staff, said it was catastrophic. It was horrible.
This
didn't
feels
know
like a
what we were
massive
doing.
distraction
Now
on
he comes
target.
up and
You
he
know,
tells
subject,
us
you know
how
what I
to do
mean?
this. Also, everything that he
Yeah.
said about the way every single move
there a
that he
drink rule
said
for
we
that?
should make.
Oh,
that's
drink,
what
he
we've done.
lied.
We've done
Fucking
all
hell.
of it. But he was way behind us.
Vice President Biden.
I thought it
your
was only
response.
Trump.
My response is he is xenophobic, but not because he shut down access from China. And he did it late after 40 countries had already done that. In addition to that, what he did, he made sure that we had 44 people that were
had a
in there
drink anyway.
in China trying to get to Wuhan to determine
Yeah, if
what exactly
Biden
the source
had the
was. What did
lies
president
on
say
it,
in
that would be
January? He said,
an
no, he
adventure.
said, he's being transparent. The president of China is being transparent. We owe him a debt of gratitude. We have to thank him. And then what
I'm sorry.
happened was we started talking
the
about using the Defense
president of
Act
China
to
has been
make sure we
transparent.
go out and get whatever is needed out there to protect people.
Is that why their
And
infection
again,
rate
I
and their
go back
deaths
to
haven't
this.
gone anywhere
He had
since
nothing-
early
he
this
did
year?
virtually nothing.
Okay.
And then he gets out of the hospital and he talks about,
Hey,
this
man,
is
I mean,
don't worry.
that's
It's all
Biden,
gonna be
right?
over soon. Come on.
In the
It's not
pocket of
another
China?
serious
Biden's
scientist
sucking
in
on
the
that
world.
3.5
There he goes
million.
with come on.
President Trump, your
Oh,
response.
yeah.
Over soon. I say we're learning to live with it. We have no choice. We can't lock ourselves up in a basement like Joe does. He has the ability to lock himself up. I don't know. He's obviously made a lot of money someplace, but he's
Okay.
thing about living in a basement.
Okay.
People can't do
I get that.
By the way, I, as the president, couldn't do that. I'd love to put myself in the basement or in a beautiful room
Also,
in the White
remember,
House
one of the
and
rules
go
is
away for a
drink when
year and a
either
half
says the
until it
United States of
disappears.
America.
I
Yeah.
can't do that. And Kirsten, every meeting I had, and I'd meet a lot of families, including Gold Star families and military families. Every meeting I had, and I had to meet them. I had to. It would be horrible to have canceled everything. I said, this is dangerous, and you catch it. And I caught it. I learned a lot. Great doctors, great hospitals, and now I recovered. 99.9
Psycho Megas,
of young
I agree.
people recover. 99% of people recover. We have to recover. We can't close up our nation. We have to open our schools. And we can't
so
close
Trump's
up
right
our
here.
nation, or you're not
You
going to
can't
have
close
a
the
nation.
country up. That's why
And of course,
I
the CDC has
mostly
said
agree
young
with
people
Boris
can
about
get
how we
sick
do
with
means
COVID-19
assessing it
and can
here.
pass it. Vice President Biden, I want to talk broadly about strategy, though. You
Can I
have
respond to that?
30 seconds, please,
For
and then
30
I have a
seconds.
question.
No, number one, he says that we're learning to live with it. People are learning to die with it. You folks home will have an empty chair at
geez.
the kitchen table this morning.
Of course he's doing that.
Man or wife going to bed tonight and reaching over to try
I
to
had one of
touch
the
their-
rules that I had written
out of
was
habit where their
whenever
wife or husband
Biden looks
was.
at the camera and
It's
starts
gone.
talking to the folks at
Learning
home.
to live with it. Come on. We're
Oh,
dying.
come
of
on. He said it.
Because he's never said.
Yeah,
he
I
said
wish
it's
that was
dangerous.
actually. I wish
When's
that
the
was a
last
rule,
time?
but
Is it
at the
really
same time I don't
dangerous
because I
still?
think they counted
We're
like
dangerous.
52.
You tell the people it's dangerous. Now. What do they do about the danger?
Come on. It was in the
say,
first game, by
I
the
take
way.
no
I know it was.
Let me talk about your two.
Excuse me,
Very quickly.
I take full responsibility. It's not my fault that he came here. It's China's fault. And you know what? It's not Joe's fault that he came
Not like
here.
that. I take
either.
full responsibility. It's
It's
China's
China's
fault.
fault. They kept it from going into
I
the
love
rest
that
of China
response.
for the most part, but they didn't keep it from coming out to the world, including Europe and ourselves.
Vice President Biden.
The fact is that when we knew it was coming, when it hit, what happened? What did the president say? He said, don't worry, it's going to go away. Be gone by Easter. Don't worry. The warm
Secondly,
weather.
not true.
Don't worry.
On
Maybe
January
inject bleach.
29th,
He said he was kidding when he said that.
he
A lot of
declared it a
people thought
national
was
emergency.
serious. A whole range of things the president has
Oh my
said.
God, those facial
Even
expressions,
today,
though, I like
he
that.
thinks we
Oh,
are in control.
Trump's facial expressions
We're
are
about
the
to
best.
lose 200,000 more people.
President Trump.
Look,
He
perhaps just to
restrained himself
finish
so well
this,
from interrupting.
I was kidding on that, but just to finish this, when I closed, he said I shouldn't have closed. And that went on for months.
He did.
What,
I
Nancy
do. He
Pelosi
did
said the
say
same
that.
thing.
I
She
do
was
remember
dancing on
because
the
this was
streets
something
in
I think I remember
Chinatown in
Mark
San
seeing on
Francisco.
Twitter.
But
Also,
when I
we
closed,
talked about
he
it.
said,
We have to
this
talk
is a
about it.
terrible
There's no way
thing.
we
You're
didn't.
xenophobic. I think he called me racist even. And because
And
I was
there's that Nancy
closing it to
Pelosi
China.
comment,
Now
too.
he says I should have closed it earlier. It just, Joe.
Oh,
it
no, I
doesn't
know
matter.
Jason was responsibility for his
You
response.
certainly did. You
You
certainly did.
Who
I
interrupted
talked
who
about
there? I don't know.
xenophobia in a different context. It
Biden
wasn't
interrupted
about
Trump.
closing the border to Chinese
Does that count as a drink?
coming to the United States.
No.
All right, I want to talk
you
about
know,
both of your
like
different
fuck someone.
strategies to
He
handling
thought
this.
I shouldn't have closed the border.
Well, let's-
That's obvious.
That technically counts
Is
because
that- do you
Trump
wanna respond
interrupts.
to that quickly,
But the
Vice
moderator
President?
really didn't
Okay.
deserve to be in
Let's
there
talk
anyway,
about your
but I'll take
different
that.
I'll take it.
strategies
All right,
for
fine.
dealing with this. Mr. Vice President, you suggested you would support new shutdowns if scientists recommended
This
it.
is gonna get
What do you say
painful.
to Americans who are fearful that the cost
we
of
finishing?
shutdowns, the
Yeah,
impact on
every
the
time.
economy, the higher
No,
rates
I'm
of
half
hunger,
shotting. I'm
depression,
not doing a whole
domestic
fucking
and
shot.
substance abuse outweighs
Piss
the
off.
risk of exposure
I was
to
going
the
to say, you're
virus.
going to
What I
die.
would say is I'm going to
Yeah, I'm
shut
not
down
doing
the
that.
virus, not the country. It's his ineptitude that caused the
Oh,
virus.
there's the insult Trump on Biden.
Why
It's his
businesses
Hang on.
have gone under, why
His-
schools are closed, why so many people
There's
have
no way he
lost
could have
their
controlled
living,
it.
and why
You
they're
can't shut the
concerned.
nation down and
Other
hope that works,
concerns
'cause
are
no one
real.
knew how
That's
to
why
control
He
it.
should have been, instead
No,
of
of
in
course
This is
not.
all
Rapid golf
hindsight.
course, he should have been negotiating.
yeah, and
with
but that's
Nancy
the entire
Pelosi
Democrat
and the rest
game.
of
You
the
kidding?
Democrats and Republicans about
And yes,
what to
Santham,
do
I actually
about
did
the
notice
acts
that,
they were passing for
giving
billions
Biden a
of
chance to
dollars
respond, but
make
Trump
sure
has to
people had the
interrupt.
capacity.
But you haven't ruled out more shutdowns.
Well, no, I'm not shutting down the neighbor, but there are, look.
Look,
the new
Oh, there we
standard-
go.
The standard is if you have a reproduction rate in a community that's above a certain level.
By the way,
everybody says.
I will
slow
say
up.
this. Yeah.
More social
Have you noticed
distancing. Do not
Biden
open
is
bars
more
and do not open
coherent
gymnasiums.
than he has been
do
in a
not
while.
open
For now.
until you get
Yeah.
this under
For now.
control. Under more
only got plenty of
control.
time, but
when you
this
do
is
it,
impressive.
Oh, yeah.
give the
I'll
people
tell you
the
one
capacity to
spoiler,
be
it
able
does
to
get
open
worse
and
as
have
the night goes
capacity
on.
to
Oh,
do
good.
it safely. For
That's
example,
what I'm here.
schools.
We're all here for
Schools,
that.
they need
That's
a
what
lot
we're
of
here
money
for.
Is
to
this
go.
the
They
question?
need to deal
I
with
thought- I did not
ventilation
know this
systems.
was
They
the
need to
question.
deal
What do you
with
say to
smaller
people who are worried of the
classes,
consequences?
More teachers, more pods, and he's refused to support
This
that
is
money,
not
or at
relevant.
least
This
up
is
to now.
this is complete.
Let's talk about
that counts as a
President
thing,
Trump.
isn't
I
it?
think we have to respond, if I might.
Please, and then I have
Typically,
a
it would be
follow-up.
two
Thank you,
drinks
I
because then
appreciate that.
Trump tries to
Look,
jump
all
in,
he
but it
does
was
is
his
talk about
turn, so
shutdowns,
I don't
but
even.
forget about him.
Yeah, it's not
His
interrupt. I won't count that.
Democrat
I'll count the
colleagues,
drink, though.
Cuomo in New York. You look at what's going on in California. You look at Pennsylvania, North
Lovely.
Carolina.
I hate that rule, just
Democrats
for, like,
all.
when Trump
They're
interrupts.
shut down.
Yeah,
so
because
God
bad,
damn it.
and they're
that's
dying.
painful.
You
I-
wanted somebody to die.
And he supports all these people. All he talks about is shutdowns. No, we're not going to shut down.
I
and
know
we
I'm
have
gonna need it,
open our
Gemma,
schools.
I know.
And it's like, as an
This
example,
is
I have a
true,
young
though.
son. He also
Honestly, if
tested
you want to
positive.
fix this
By the time
concern,
I spoke to the
you
doctor
just have to
the
open up
second
the
time, He
country.
was fine. It just went away. Young people. I guess
I don't
it's
know
their
what it
immune
was,
system.
but I
Let me
remember
follow
there
up
was a
with you,
news
President
report
Trump. You've
that had
demanded
said
schools
that
open in person
people
and
who had
insist they can
had
do it
masks,
safely. But just
I think like
yesterday,
70%
Boston
of people who
became
had
the
gotten
latest city to
COVID
move its public
said that they
school
had
system
worn
entirely
masks in like the
online
last
after a
like 3
coronavirus
months
spike.
all the
Yeah.
time.
What is your message
Yeah.
to parents who worry that
And
sending
so I'm
their
like,
children
okay,
to school
so
will
who's
endanger
being
not only their
helped
kids
here?
but
I don't-
also
I
their
don't
teachers
understand.
and families?
No.
I want to
I'm
open
sure.
the schools. The transmittal rate to the teachers is very small.
I don't know if
I
that's
wanna
true,
open
the
the
Yeah,
schools.
I'm not-
We have to
teachers.
open our country. We're
In
not going to have
UK,
a country.
it's not
You
right-
can't do
it-
this.
the
We can't keep this country
education
closed.
is
This
like
a
the biggest
massive
percentage of
country with a
infections.
massive economy.
So I'm not
People are
too sure
losing their
he's right
jobs.
on that one.
They're committing suicide.
But I don't know if it's
There's
applicable in the
depression,
US.
alcohol, drugs,
But I
at
do
a level
think
that
if
nobody's
you
ever
can
seen
teach
before.
online, that's fine,
There's
but you've got to
abuse,
motivate the kids to
tremendous
learn. That's the
abuse.
problem.
We have to open our
It's
country.
not easy
You know,
either.
I've said it often. The cure
Hello,
is
Harsh,
requires
yes.
worse than the
And hello,
problem
Aqua.
itself.
Hope everyone else else is
That's
having a good
what's
day.
happening.
There's lots of
and
people.
he
I do
wants to
apologize for
close
having to say
down.
hello.
He'll close down the country if one person in our massive bureaucracy says we should close it down.
Vice President Biden, your
Simply
response.
not true. We ought to be able to walk and chew gum at the same
Yes,
time.
you should be able to do that.
We ought to
That
be
would be
able to
really bad if you
safely
couldn't.
open.
I don't like
But
gum.
they need resources to
fair.
open.
Can I change it for
I don't
yum
like
yum
You
or
need to be able
donuts?
to, for example, if you're
I
going to
prefer
open a
mints.
business, have social distancing
Like
within the
crunch.
business. You need to have, if you
Oh,
have a
mint.
restaurant, you need
I
to
think
have
meant mincemeat.
plexiglass dividers so people
No,
cannot
weird.
infect one another. You need to be in a position
No,
where
mint.
you can take testing rapidly and know whether a person is in fact infected.
plexiglass-
You need to be able to trace. You need
plexiglass?
to be able to provide all the resources
Is there
that are
any in
needed
this?
to do this. And that is not
No,
inconsistent
no, there's not.
with
But he was talking about how
saying
you have to
that
put like plexiglass
what-
up and all these
make
places.
sure that we open safely. And by the way, all you teachers out
here he
there,
goes again,
not
talking
that
to the
many
people
of
at
you are
home.
going to die, so don't worry about it. So don't worry about it.
You're not gonna die.
President Trump, let me follow up with you quickly.
By the way, I
on-
will say this: if you go and
There
look
goes
at what's
Trump
happening
interrupting
to
the
New York,
moderator
it's
mid-question.
a ghost town. It's a ghost town. And when you talk about plexiglass, these are restaurants that are dying. These are businesses with no money. Putting up
Businesses
plexiglass is
are suffering
unbelievably
pretty bad here
expensive,
as well.
and
And we
it's
get
not the
much
answer.
more money
I mean,
per
you're going to sit
businesses
there in
here,
a
and they
cubicle
can't.
wrapped around
They can't
with
function.
plastic.
It's such a difficult
these are
position to be in as
businesses
well.
That are dying, Joe. You can't do that to people.
Well, the mix,
You just
right,
can't. Take
is
a
like,
look at
okay,
New
do I
York and
bail
what's
out these
happened to
places
my
who are
wonderful
like
city
locally
for
being basically
so
run
many
into
years.
the
I
ground
loved
by
it.
their
It was
local
vibrant.
governments
It's dying. Everyone's
as a
leaving New
federal,
York.
like basically
Take a
just
look
like
at
a
what New
funnel.
York has done in
Yeah.
terms
Is
of
don't worry
turning
about it and the
curve
drinking
down
rules,
in
by the
terms
way.
of the number of people dying.
No.
And I don't look at
fuck
this
for
in
that.
terms of the way he does. Blue states and red states. They're all the United States.
Oh, there's
and
the
look at
United
the states
States.
that are having
Yeah,
such a
all right.
spike in the coronavirus.
Oh,
They're the red states.
God.
They're the states in
That's
the Midwest.
disgusting now.
They're the states in the upper Midwest. That's where the spike is occurring
Oh, and
significantly.
thank you, Pincalo.
But they're all
Also amidst the very
Americans.
divided
All
chat.
Americans. And
Hi.
what we have to do is say,
Hi, divided
wear
chat.
these
I'm not paying
masks,
attention.
number one.
I am,
Make
though,
sure we
'cause I
get
like
the
you
help
all.
that the businesses need.
You're
that
just
has-
mad because
money's
Trump is a
already been
genius.
passed to do that. It's
I
been
love
out
you
there
guys.
since the beginning
Oh,
of
now
the
you're paying
summer,
attention, are
and
you?
Nothing's happened.
President
I
New York
have now
has
moved
lost more
the
than
screen I'm watching
40,000
and then
people,
the chat screen,
11,000
two separate
people in
monitors.
nursing
So
homes.
I have
President Trump,
both
what
up.
When you
about-
say spike,
Oh,
take a look at what's happening.
she
in
interrupted him, but
Pennsylvania, where they've had
he
it
shut her
closed.
down.
Take a look at
That's
what's
interesting.
happening
Yeah.
with your friend in Michigan, where her
Didn't
husband's
expect
the only
that.
one allowed to do anything. It's been like a prison. Now it was just ruled unconstitutional. Take a look at North Carolina. They're having spikes.
You know,
and they've been
ironically, my life
closed,
living,
and
that
they're
gets
getting
touched on.
killed
We'll talk about
financially.
that.
We can't let that happen, Joe. You can't let that happen. We have to open up. And we understand the disease. We have to protect our seniors. We have to protect our elderly. We have to protect especially our seniors with heart
That
problems
dog
and
is pretty foul
diabetes
now,
problems.
actually.
And we will protect them. We have the best testing in the world by far. That's why
But
we
he
have
is
so many
right.
cases.
We have
Let
to
me follow
protect
up with
the-
you before
like
we move
the-
on to our next section.
Honestly, this
President
is
Trump,
the
this
best
week you
answer
called
he's
Dr.
given
Anthony
about like
Fauci, the nation's
coronavirus.
best
He's
known
like, we have to
infectious
open up the
disease
economy
expert,
because
quote,
people
a
need
disaster.
to have
You described him and other
basically
medical experts as,
a
quote,
moving
idiots.
forward, right?
If
They
you're
have
not
to
listening
do
to them,
things.
who are you
They have to
listening to?
be
Fight for
there.
them.
They
I'm
have
listening to all of them,
to do their
including
job.
Anthony. I get
Otherwise,
along
you
very
have
well with
alcoholism,
Anthony, but
suicide, depression,
He
all
did
these things
say
that will kill people
that
anyway.
Wear masks. He did say,
it's a
as
very
you know, this is not
it's
going
a
to
similar
be a
position
problem.
Boris Johnson has.
I think he's
and
a
it's
Democrat.
a very
but that's
difficult
okay. He
position
said
to be
this is
in.
not going to be a problem.
Genuinely
We
a
are not
difficult
gonna have
one.
a problem at all.
Because people are
When
always
Joe
going to
says
focus
that,
on one
I
aspect,
say,
and then but
Anthony
then there's the
Fauci
if
said,
you
and
lock down the
others,
country,
and
even
many
your
others, and
country,
I'm not knocking him.
your
Nobody
economy
knew.
is done.
Look, nobody knew
It's
what
not
this
gonna be able
thing
to
was.
restart
Nobody
itself.
Knew where it was coming
And what
from,
happens
what
then?
it
You
was.
then can't
We've
help
learned
people.
a lot. But Anthony said, don't wear masks. Now he wants to wear masks. Anthony also said,
Meteor
if you look
2020,
back,
thank
exact
you,
words.
Pincala.
Here's his exact words.
Oh,
This
yeah,
is no
thank
problem.
you.
This is going to go
Very
away.
generous.
So he's
actually.
allowed to make mistakes.
it's No Lives
He
Matter
happens to be a
2020.
good
Actually,
person.
you vote for
Vice
me.
President Biden, your response quickly, and then we're going to move on to the next
My
section.
response is that think about what the president.
This
knew
was actually really
and
nice. Trump actually called Anthony Fauci a
He was
good
told
guy,
this was a
just
serious
wrong.
virus that spread in the air, and it was much
Right.
worse than
No,
much
he did
worse
tell
than
you.
the flu. He went on record and said to one of your colleagues, recorded that in fact he knew
Yeah,
how
well, tell
dangerous
Washington
it was,
Post
but he didn't
that.
want to tell us. He didn't want to tell us because he didn't want us to panic. He didn't want us. Americans don't panic.
Aha! Hang on.
But guess
No,
what?
pause.
In the meantime-
Pausing.
Pausing at 45. Right. Americans don't panic. I did videos on my main channel going through some of those panic buyers. You know, the ones that filled up their entire, pickup truck with loo roll because they panic.
Yeah, that was my first joke too. I was like, Americans don't panic. My ass. Have
same
you
thing
ever
happened
been to
here.
a grocery store when a hurricane
Right.
is going to come through? Are
I'm
you
gonna-
kidding?
I'm going to add one thing to this. You say Americans don't panic, but then he shouldn't have had to say anything. He should have had to try and find a way to reassure the public. At no point, based on what we already now know, especially, would that have worked if he said to them, by the way, this virus kills. Run for your motherfucking life. lives. It's just they're going to panic regardless. In fact, you could try and placate them with something nicer, but you know what I mean? They're just going to panic. It's just, no. I know the audio, by the way, was very damning, and I tend to think that was really badly handled. But
So what time are you at, just so I know?
45:41.
Oh, I was down by like 4 seconds. That's okay.
That's all right then. I'll press play in 3, 2, 1.
And we find out in the New York Times the other day that, in fact, his folks went to Wall Street and said this is a really dangerous thing. And a memo out of that meeting, not from his administration, but from some of the brokers, said sell short because we got to get moving. It's a dangerous problem.
Well, this is
I'm going to give you 30 seconds to respond, and then we're
the
going
Wall
to
Street
move
one,
on.
I don't know. Somebody went to Wall Street. You're the one that takes all the money from
yes.
Wall Street. I don't take
Here
it.
it goes.
You
Here it
Oh, my
goes.
God.
A lot of money. Tremendous amounts of money. And every time you raise money, deals are made, Joe. I could
I
make
love
so
that.
much
I
more
can make
money
so much more
as
money than you.
president And as
I'm
somebody that knows most of those people, I could call the heads
I can
of
really
Wall
feel
Street,
the big
heads
dick
of every
energy.
company in America.
It's
I would blow
everywhere.
away every record, but I don't want to do that because it puts me in a bad position. And then you bring up Wall Street. You shouldn't be bringing up Wall Street because you're the one that takes the money from Wall Street, not me. I could blow away your records that like you wouldn't believe.
About
We don't
blowing?
need money.
Who's
We have
blowing?
plenty of money. In fact, we beat Hillary Clinton with a tiny fraction of the
Nailed
money
it.
that she was able
All
to
right,
get.
gentlemen, we're going
Don't
to move
tell
on.
me about Wall
Average
Street.
We're gonna-
contribution, $43.
All
What's
right,
up?
we're going to move on to our next section,
just
which
like,
is
shut the fuck up,
national
Biden.
security. And I do want
gonna
to
turn the
start
volume down on the video
with
a
the
little
security
bit.
of our
There we go.
elections and some breaking news from overnight. Just last night, top
Oh, okay,
intelligence
so this is
officials
the
confirmed
Iran
that
thing.
governments
Gemma,
in Russia and
send that
Iran
art to
are
me. I
working
want
to
it.
influence this election. Both countries have obtained.
Have you heard
US
about
voter
this
registration
Iran and
information,
Russia thing?
officials say,
No.
and
Basically
Iran sent
working to
intimidating
okay, so
messages to Florida
did you
voters.
see
This
a bunch
question
of
goes to you,
information
Mr.
about
Vice President.
how
What would you do to put an end to
hang
this
on,
threat?
let's
You have
pause it real
2
quick.
minutes
Pause in
uninterrupted.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
Clear.
47:15, by the way.
Perfect. So the context of this is a bunch of people had gotten polarized messages either by mail or email, and these people were basically saying, "We know you're a Trump supporter in this town, or we know you're a Biden supporter in this town. You should vote for the other party, or else we know who you are. And when shit hits the fan, they're coming for you." Is what that said.
Huh.
And it was found to be linked to Iran and Russia. And I was like, well, interesting. One of them claimed to be the Proud Boys harassing Biden supporters.
You mean is it the Poor Boys now or something?
Yes, poor boys, yeah.
Pincalo.
That's later.
Pincalo, thank you for the $2 donation. Smash or pass? I don't know who we're talking about.
I think AOC was in the conversation.
Oh,
but,
yeah, people keep mentioning her because she was on Twitch and she did really well. I take no issue with that, so I don't really care.
I don't like her as a person, but like I'm not going to.
I do know that she mentioned AOC was the name given to her, and I'm like, as some reference to a nickname, and I'm like, that's not. No, that's your
kind of true. It's
kind of
just
is, but it's your initials.
Yeah.
A nickname should flow from AOC. Doesn't really sound like a nickname. It sounds like a gang sign.
K. Oda, Biden is an undertable guy. If you read his body language, he's reading from somewhere. Yeah, on the podium, they do have notes. Both of them do.
Oh, of course, and I have noticed. I believe Biden may have taken some when he was thinking about responses. So,
I mean, I would.
yeah,
If I were in a debate,
I'll be honest. In debates, that is a perfectly. I see prime ministers do that in debates in the UK all the time. It is a perfectly reasonable thing to do. And the fact, I will say this: I am impressed that Biden has been. I'll be honest. I will say keep up. I mean, he has. I do feel like he hasn't really explained what he would do. Instead, focusing on what Trump has done, so he hasn't shown himself to stand out in the respect of what he would do instead. Yeah, and I find that to be quite interesting, because I want to know what he would do. Yes, 3, 2, 1, play. I've just pressed space in the chat.
And I ask everyone else to take the pledge. I made it clear that any country, no matter who it is, that interferes in American elections
For
will
interfering in
pay
the
a
election.
price. They will pay a price. And it's been overwhelmingly clear this election.
Wall Street
I won't even
price?
get into the last one. This election.
No, this is.
that Russia has
It might
been
be a Wall
involved,
Street price.
China's been involved to some degree, and now we learn that Iran is involved. They will pay a
Okay,
price
Iran
if I'm
do.
elected. They're interfering with American sovereignty. That's what's going on right now. They're interfering with American sovereignty. To the best of my
Sovereignty,
knowledge, I don't think the
interesting.
president said anything to
Sovereignty.
Putin about it.
That's
I
interesting.
don't think he's talking to him a lot. I don't think he said a word. I don't know why he hadn't said a word to Putin about it. And I don't know what he has recently said, if anything, to the Iranians. My guess is
He's
probably more
suggesting.
outspoken with regard to
Yes,
the
he
Iranians.
is.
But the point
That's
is this.
trash.
We are
Come
in a
on.
situation where we have foreign
Oh,
Speculation.
absolutely. But a lot of Democrats' talking points in the last month or so have been suggestion as opposed to.
I don't care for it. It's a shitty tactic.
They're suggestion based on truth,
He's being used as
but
a
they're trying to draw
Did he
a
just-
conclusion from.
He just brought up
something else.
Rudy Giuliani, didn't
that
he?
is not true.
Yes, he
And
did.
then what
He did it.
happens? Nothing
He
happens.
brought it up.
And then you
He
find
brought
out
up Rudy
that
Giuliani.
what's going on
Let's
here
watch.
about Russia
Yep.
is wanting to make sure that I do not get elected the next president of the United States because they know I know them and they know me. I don't understand why this president is unwilling to take on Putin.
Untrue.
When he's actually paying bounties to kill American soldiers in Afghanistan, when he's engaged in activities
that's
that
true.
are trying to destabilize all of NATO. I don't know why he doesn't do it, but it's worth asking the question, why isn't that being done? Any country that interferes with us will, in fact, pay a
He's still
price
again.
because they're
He's
affecting our
quickly
sovereignty.
going on him, but I want to know what
President
he would do. He's just
same
saying they
question
will
to
pay.
you. Let
That's
me-
all he's
let me
saying.
ask the question. You're gonna have
Right.
2 minutes to
Nothing that
respond to
they
two
will pay
elections ago.
militarily.
There
They
has
will
been
pay
substantial
financially.
there's no-
I'm worried
adversaries.
about the
What would you
militarily,
do
honestly.
next
I-
term?
I'd expect,
Put
to
an
be
end
honest,
to
a
this. 2 minutes,
sanction.
final
Well, let me
That's what I'd
respond
expect.
to the first part, as Joe answered. Joe got $3.5 million from Russia, and it came through Putin because he was
Here
very
he
friendly
goes.
with the former mayor of Moscow, and it was the mayor of Moscow's wife. And you got $3.5 million. Your family got $3.5 million, and you know someday you're going to have to explain why did you get 3.5. I never got any money from Russia. I don't
Changes
get money from
direction
Russia.
mid-sentence.
Now about your thing
Yeah.
last night, I knew all about that, and through John, John Ratcliffe, who is fantastic, DNI. He
Why the
said,
fuck Trump brought up
one
Biden's
thing
son?
that's
Biden
common to
started
both
it,
of them,
actually.
they
Yeah,
both
Biden
want
did.
you to lose.
He said
Because
he
there's been
shouldn't,
nobody
and then he
tougher than
goes,
Russia.
"Fuck it, I'll do it anyway."
Between the
Essentially,
sanctions, nobody
I heard him
tougher
shout
than
Leroy
you and
Jenkins,
Russia.
actually.
Between the sanctions, between all of what I've done with NATO, you know, I've got the NATO countries to put up an extra 130 billion, going to 420 billion dollars a year. That's to guard against Russia. I sold, while he was selling pillows.
I remember
and
that. That was really
sheets,
early on in his
I
presidency.
sold tank busters to Ukraine. There has been nobody tougher
Can you turn the volume
on
back
Russia
up?
than Donald
Of course.
Trump.
My apologies. I only turned it down because I wasn't sure of the balancing,
talking.
and I did need people to help me balance it.
I'll tell you, they were so bad. They took over the submarine port. You remember that very well. During your term, during you and Barack
and they
Obama.
probably still are.
They took over a big part of what should have been Ukraine. You knew
And
that,
here we
Joe.
go. Drink
You were getting
brings
a lot
up the
of
Hunter
money
Biden
from
story.
Russia.
Yeah.
They were paying you a lot of money, and they probably still are. But now, with what came out today, it's
Lovely.
even worse. All of the emails, the horrible
gonna get
emails of the
expensive.
kind of money that you were raking in, you and your family. And
That
Joe,
was
you were
true.
vice
The
president when some of
Bobulinski
this
guy
was happening,
who was
and
on
it
the
should have
Trump
never
emails
happened.
had
And I think
had an
you
interview
owe an
right before this
explanation to the
debate,
American
basically
people.
saying
Why
like
is
this
it?
is
Somebody
all
just had
this
a
shit.
news
This is
conference a
happening.
little while ago who was
Release your
essentially
taxes,
supposed to
Trump,
work with
you
you
piece
and
of
your
shit.
family.
Well, stop
But
auditing
what
him.
he said was damning. And regardless of me, I think you have to
Oh, they'll
clean
get
it
leaked
up and
again,
talk
it'd be
to the
fine.
American people.
Hey,
Maybe
that's
you can do it
possible.
right now.
That's possible. He has not taken
Vice
any money
President
from any
Biden,
foreign
you may
source.
respond.
Your son is
And
not
then
a
I do
foreign
want to follow
source.
up on the election security.
I have not taken a penny from any foreign source.
Of course he does
ever
business in China.
my
He's
life.
a international
Learned
real
this
estate
president
mogul.
Paid 50 times the
Was.
tax in China,
Was.
has a secret bank account with China, does business in China,
So?
and in fact is talking about me taking money.
Why should I care
have
about
not
his-
taken
his
a
own
single penny from
finances? It
any
means fuck all to
country
me.
whatsoever, ever. Number one. Number two, this is a president. I have released all of my tax returns. 22 years. Go look at them. 22 years of my
Only-
tax returns.
only 22?
You have not released a single
Actually,
solitary
didn't the
year
tax
of your
returns
tax
that were
return.
released
What are
by
you
the
hiding?
Washington
Why
Post
are you
show that
unwilling?
Trump has actually
Foreign countries
lost
are
money?
paying you a lot. Russia's
That wouldn't
paying
surprise
you
me
a
'cause he's
lot.
not actually running a
China's
business
paying
while
you
he's
a
there,
lot.
is he?
And your hotels. And
He's
all
not
your
taking a
businesses
salary.
all around the country, all around the world. And China's building a new road to a new a golf course you have overseas. So what's going on here? Why don't release your tax return or stop talking about corruption?
President Trump, your response.
First of all, I called my accountants under audit. I'm going to release them as soon as we can. I want to
are
do
they?
it, and it'll show how successful, how great this company is. But much more importantly than that, people were saying $750. I asked them
bit of a
a
flex
week
here.
ago. I said, "What did I pay?"
Oh, it totally
They
is.
said, "Sir, you prepaid
But like,
tens of
also,
millions
do you
of
think
dollars." I
Trump
prepaid my
personally
tax.
handles his own
Tens over the
finances?
last
No,
8 years.
absolutely not.
Tens
No,
of millions of dollars. I prepaid.
he has accountants.
Because at some point they think it's an estimate. They think I may have
when
to
you're
pay
an
tax.
international real
So
estate
I
agent
already
who
prepaid
owns
it.
multiple
Nobody told me
like
that.
hotel chains,
Nobody
tell you
told
when
me
you
that.
think
that
we
man
should?
files
It
his
wasn't
own
written.
And
tax
actually,
return?
somebody
Right
tell
this
you in the
second. They
chat,
keep talking about
he had a bank account in
$750,
China. It was
which
closed
I think
in
is a filing
2015.
fee. But let me just tell you, I
So if
prepaid
that's true, that was before he was
millions and
president,
millions
yes?
of
He
dollars in
explains that
taxes.
right now.
Number one. Number two. I
Oh,
don't
he
make
brought
money
it up
from
again, by the
China.
way.
You do.
Yeah.
I don't make money from Ukraine.
Drink.
You do. I don't make money from Russia. You made $3.5 million, Joe.
By the way,
and your son
so
gave you.
an
They even
interesting
have a
tell,
statement that we have to
for
give
Biden
10%
is whenever
to the
Trump
big man.
says
You're the big
something
He
that
smiles.
is
I don't know,
objectively
maybe
true.
you're not,
I'm
but
sorry,
you're the
you
big man, I
pause?
think.
Yes.
Okay. Whenever Trump says something that is objectively true, Biden will scoff, look down, and laugh.
Actually, you said that, and on the stream, that is exactly what Biden is doing. Looking down and smiling.
Yeah, because it was just the email comment.
And I'm very much aware that Trump doesn't take like a salary, and that's fine because he doesn't need the money. I know that you guys hold your leaders different standard than us, and I want to make this point quite. I don't care about his money. I don't give a fuck. It doesn't tell me anything about him. He's a businessman. That's all. It doesn't mean shit to me. So why people are obsessing over it seems really... It's another distraction to me that is absolutely redundant. Can we not have focus on the issues and you know, a little insult here and there instead of just obsessing over something that isn't really relevant? Oh, you haven't released your tax returns. So? Why do you need them?
I think this screen cap is just everything right now.
That's a
This pause screen is just everything.
It is, by the way, the look you described.
He looks down and he smiles and he like scoffs.
Yeah,
Right?
I think he's looking at his notes. I get that.
By
though.
the way,
Go on.
By the way, one of the greatest like tit for tat comments that I had heard during the stream yesterday when I was watching it was
Right.
the Biden family is so corrupt that the Clintons give him a standing ovation when he walks in the room.
Oh my god. Is that it? I don't know much about the Bidens, so I can't possibly comment on if that's true. I just hear bits about Joe.
It's because of the news stories that are coming out right now that it sounds pretty
The
bad.
Hunter Biden stuff does not help him.
No, it does not.
I know-
In fact, it's pretty damning. Actually, there's alleged allegations of sexual impropriety with a minor too.
So
Awkward.
before we continue, there is one thing that everyone, people are tweeting out a picture of him and his son together, and he was being really affectionate to his son. And people are trying to use it to harp on about the creepy Joe thing. I just want to say, and I said this to others, the moment I saw that picture, my thought was, I wish I had a dad that was half as affectionate as that.
There's a difference, I think, when it comes. Like, I understand that there are bad people in this world, especially fathers can be bad people to their children. I understand.
True.
However, I will never criticize Joe Biden for the care and the protectiveness that he exerts over his kids.
Yeah.
If I can say one good thing about Joe, it's that beyond all things, he loves his sons and he would do anything for them.
Absolutely.
And the only reason I say that is because when Bo died, it was tragic. Like, I felt awful for the man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the quote from Lord of the Rings always comes back in my head that a father should never have to bury his son. Right?
Yeah.
And that just hurts, right?
Yeah.
That sentiment hurts. So I think that Joe is going to do everything he can to protect Hunter right now. And especially because Hunter was a problem child.
Yeah.
Like the situation with the drug abuse his dishonorable discharge from the military, and Joe Biden's first comments during the first debate about how, he had, worked for it, like worked to try and get over that kind of thing. Honestly, that's a good dad.
I agree. And so people who were attacking him with that picture, it's such a weak move. It's pointless.
It is, and I hate it.
I put it in our little sources thing at the top, and I saw the picture, and I can understand why I'm English, we're very reserved, but at the same time, partially jealous, because...
But also, like, I'm Hispanic. That's normal.
Yeah, I'm English. It's not. I wish it was.
Like a father kissing their son on the cheek is not as weird. Like, I understand American culture, that doesn't happen. In Hispanic culture, that can happen. It could be your grandfather, it could be your father. Like, especially if you haven't seen them in a while, they might care enough to kiss you on the cheek. God forbid.
Okay, so I'm going to press play at 53:43. Is that okay?
Okay. Yep.
3, 2, 1, play.
Your son said we have to give 10% to the big man. Joe, what's that all about? It's terrible.
All right, gentlemen, I want to ask you both some questions about all of this, but I'm going to let you both respond very quickly. You just said you spoke to your accountant about potentially releasing your taxes. Did he tell you when you can release them? Do you have a deadline for when you're going to release them?
I get treated worse than the Tea Party got treated.
I know, but the moderator's interrupting him.
Deep down in the IRS, they treat me
drink.
horribly.
Drink.
We made a deal, it was all
anyway,
settled
but, like,
until I decide to run for president. I get treated very badly by the IRS, very unfairly.
Biden laptop matters.
We had a deal all done. As soon as we're completed with the deal, I want to release it. But I have paid millions and millions of dollars, and it's worse than paying. I paid in advance. It's called prepaying your taxes. I paid in advance.
I want to ask you both about questions regarding your potential foreign entanglements and questions that have been raised to give you both a chance to talk about this more broadly. Respond very quickly.
Brings up Trump's tax returns.
Why did he been saying this for 4 years? Show us. Just show us. Stop playing around.
Lovely.
You've been saying for 4 years you're going to release your taxes. Nobody knows it, Mr. President. What they do know is you're not paying your taxes, or you're paying taxes that are so low. When last time he said what he paid, he said, I only pay that little because I'm smart.
Fucking system was created because of fucking Democrats.
Come on, folks.
Was it?
President Trump, and then I want to get to two questions.
Is that like legal loopholes to pay less tax?
I was put through
a Democrats created that during the housing crisis of 2008.
It started before I even got elected. They
in order to
my campaign,
essentially address that situation, they had changed a bit of
what
tax
I
law
went through.
and allowed Trump to get away with paying, quote unquote,
and 18 angry Democrats
which I think
and
is
FBI agents all over the place spent $48 million. They went through everything.
This is true, though, by the way. He got investigated for the impeachment by the FBI, and they got access to his tax returns and
$48 million.
nothing.
I guarantee you, if
Also,
I spent
didn't
$1
they
million
remember
on
get
you,
photos,
I
but
find
they need
plenty wrong.
evidence.
Because
All
the
right.
kind of things that you've done and the kind of monies that your family has taken, I mean, your brother made money in Iraq. Millions of dollars. Your other brother made a fortune, and it's all through you, Joe. And they say you get some of it, and you do live very well. You have houses all over the place. You live very well.
They
gentlemen,
mute during the 2-minute opening segment, not during
Vice
the.
President Biden,
Oh, okay.
There have been questions about the work your son has done in China.
However,
and
you will
for
hear like
Ukrainian
people
energy company
have
where you were
a
vice
bit of an
president. In
issue
retrospect,
at the tail
was
end
anything about
and
those
at the start of
relationships
some of their comments.
inappropriate or unethical?
Okay,
Nothing was
the
unethical.
moderator
Here's
brought
what
up
the deal.
the question of Hunter Biden
With
now.
regard to Ukraine, we had this whole question about whether or not, because he was on the board, I later learned of a Burisma, a company, that somehow I had done something wrong. Yet every single solitary person, when he was going through his impeachment, testifying under oath who worked for him, said, I did my job impeccably.
He was only impeached on
carried
party
out
lines.
U.S. policy. Not one
was definitely
single
impeached on party
solitary
lines.
thing was out of line.
It was
Not
a
thing.
pantomime.
Number one. Number two, the guy who
Political
got in
theater,
trouble
as
in
it were.
Ukraine was this
Sure.
guy trying to bribe the
prefer to
Ukrainian
think of everyone
government to
as a
say
clown.
something negative about me, which they
Well, that
would
was
not
what he
do
said in the first
and
debate.
did not do because it never, ever, ever happened. My son has not
Biden
made
has said
money. in
Hunter
terms of
has
this thing
not
about,
made money
what are you
with China.
talking about?
That's
China.
a lie, isn't it?
I have not had it. The only guy who made money from
allegedly.
China is this guy. He's the only one. Nobody else has made money from China.
Not
Never
President
did
Trump,
deal with it.
let me
By the
ask
way-
my question to you.
But
and
could
then
I just
you-
one thing?
Very quickly.
His son didn't have a job for a long time. Was
you
sadly
wanna
no
pause?
longer in the military
Yeah.
service.
Go on.
Okay, pause. What's up?
It's the making money in China thing. He's a fucking businessman. Of course he made money in China. Or from China, from the hotels and the golf courses. It's such a bad argument.
I agree.
It's
And I think that it's interesting that people equate the difference between Trump making money through real estate
that's the thing.
to a whataboutism.
It's a false
for-
equivalence.
Exactly.
It's so fucking. I'm sorry, but I want to give. I genuinely, by the way, I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. Of course, I'm not. I don't support Trump. I am very much. I want to see how this plays out. That's how I. That's my position in this, and I'm disappointed because. Sure, but I'm disappointed because. Come on. You could hammer him on policy so much better than this. Instead, you're focusing on money and a bullshit impeachment. And a bullshit impeachment. And that impeachment was a joke. Trups and I went through it. We laughed our asses off.
Actually, 3 times.
3 times. It was a joke. And multiple times afterwards, because when they did all the processes and we went through that, and it was just like, so you're not you're just going to impeach him because party lines. Okay.
It was an impeachment because.
Yeah. And it obviously got thrown out because you just did it for show, to look cool, to look tough and big in Congress. And then when we went to the Senate and you don't have control of it, it's like, oh, well, shit, we can't. Well, at least we did our civic duty, yo. No, you didn't. You ignored all the evidence, which proved jack shit. I was so disappointed in that. And this is disappointing me. I'm just... and we're
fair
not...
enough.
We're like less than an hour in, I'm already sad. Must be the alcohol. I'm going to press...
That's good because it's an hour and a half long, so you don't have too much longer.
Like, fuck for that. All right, I'll press play in 3, 2, 1.
I won't get into that. And he didn't have a job. As soon as he became vice president, Burisma, not the best reputation in the world. I hear they paid him $183
Is he silencing the moderator?
a month. Listen to this.
Yes.
183, and they gave him a $3
Presidential
million
finger.
upfroont payment.
All right.
And he had no
Also,
energy.
I'm going to let the Vice
drinking,
President
but
respond to that
still
quickly,
bringing
and then
up
I need to
other
get to a
emails.
question.
Yeah.
No basis for that. Everybody investigated that. No one said anything he did was wrong. in
Technically,
Ukraine.
that's the
Okay,
question,
President
though.
Trump, this is for you. Since you took
up in
office,
the air, isn't it?
you've never divested from your business. You've personally promoted your properties abroad. A report this week, which was referenced, does indicate that your company has a bank account.
And
in
here's that
China.
explanation about
so
the
how can
2015
voters know that
closure, by
you
the
don't
way.
have any foreign conflicts of interest?
I have
Yeah,
many bank
so the
accounts,
argument
and
was
they're all
that
listed,
Trump had
and
a
they're all over
secret
the
bank
place.
account
I mean,
in
I
China,
was a
except that it was listed
businessman
on his tax
doing business.
returns,
The
and
bank account you're
everyone knew
referring
about
to,
it,
which
so
is,
not so
everybody
secret.
knows about it. It's listed. The bank account was in 2013. That's when it was. It was opened it was closed in 2015, I believe. And then I decided, because I was thinking about doing a deal in China like millions of other people. I was thinking about it, and I decided I'm not
Biden's,
going
like,
to do
what
it.
face.
Didn't like it. I
Yeah, it's
decided
the
not
what
to do it.
face.
Had an
He's
account
not
open,
sure yet.
and I
But
closed it.
give him a chance.
Excuse me. And then, unlike him, where he's vice president and he does business, I then decided to run for president.
I'm
after
sorry.
That
There's
was
one
before.
lefty
so I closed
meme,
it
by the way.
before I even
There's one
ran
lefty
for
meme
president,
that I really love,
let
and
alone
it's
became
Trump
president.
playing the accordion.
Big difference. He is
Because
the
of
vice
all the
president
hand
of the
fucking
United
movements.
States, and his son, his brother,
gesticulates
and his
like,
other brother are getting
Tony
really
Blair
used to do a
like
lot.
a vacuum
Fucking
cleaner. They're
English.
sucking up
Okay,
No
President
hiragana
Trump,
in the
thank you.
chat.
You
Not
can
true.
move on.
Actually, I think that
I
might
do
be
want to
California.
ask you, Vice President Biden, about China. Let's talk about China more broadly. There have, of course, President Trump has said that they should pay
I agree.
for
China
not
should pay for not
fully
being fully transparent.
in regards to the coronavirus.
I tend to agree,
if you
actually.
were president, would you make China pay?
But I
And
need to know more
please be
information
specific.
first.
What would
We
that
need-
look like?
What I'd make China
Yeah.
do is play by the international rules, not like he has done. He has caused the deficit of China to go up, not down.
How's that
with
his
China.
thing?
Up, not down. We are making sure that in
It
order
might
to do
be.
business
It's
in
because
China,
we
you
put
have to
imposed
give
sanctions on
all
them.
your
That's their
intellectual
fucking
property. You
fault.
have to have a partner in China. It's
So
51%.
in other countries, I'm going
We
to
would
pause.
not do
3,
that
2,
at
1.
all.
Let's not. He spoke out against China. Literally everyone else, though, was championing China. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
He was always going to have a difficult time trying to get people to be on his side here. Biden's obviously on the same side to an extent, but he's not. He was championing the WHO as well. I'm sorry, I can't. No. I'm not saying, by the way. No, I am saying you chose the wrong fight and now you're taking a different stance. It's really weird. I'm going to press play again.
Number one. Number two, we're in a situation where China would have to play by the rules internationally as well. When I met with Xi, when I was still vice president, he said we're setting up air identification zones in the South China Sea. You can't fly through.
Oh, yes, the BB-52s.
We just flew B-52s and B-1 bombers through it. We're not going to pay attention.
I hope you weren't flying B-52 bombers.
And what's he do? He embraces guys like thugs like in North Korea and the Chinese president and Putin and others, and he pokes his finger in the eye of all of our friends,
Hang on, now he considers Xi Jinping to be an enemy? I'm confused.
He should never have considered them a friend.
We need to be having the
I don't think America's ever considered them friends, have they?
Saying to China, these are the rules. You play by them or you're going to pay the price for not paying by
Yosemite,
them.
I'm very sorry you've been timed out.
That's
I
the way
can't
I will
understand
run
the
it,
language
and
you've
that's
used,
what
I'm afraid.
we did in upholding steel
I do
tariffs and a
apologize.
range of other things when we were president and vice president.
All right, let's talk about North Korea.
Excuse me, no, I have to respond to that.
Okay, very quickly, and
His
then we're
son
going to move
walked
on to
out
North
with $1.5
Korea.
billion from China to
Not
manage after
true.
spending 10 minutes in office and being in Air Force Two.
He brings it up again.
There's a very strong email talking about your family wanting to make $10 million a year for introductions.
President Trump, on China policy,
True.
though, what
No, but wait a
specifically are
minute.
you going to do? What specifically are you going to do to make China pay? You've said you're going
First
to
of
make
all,
them pay.
China is paying. They're paying
Not new
billions and
sanctions,
billions
old
of dollars. I
sanctions.
just gave
New
$28 billion.
sanctions? New sanctions?
I just gave $28 billion to
It's
farmers.
what?
Taxpayers'
Biden
money.
interrupting. Nobody cares, right?
Taxpayers.
Okay.
money. Didn't
No,
come
no,
from
yeah,
China.
you know the
drinking.
taxpayer is. It's called China.
It's not even a drink
China
thing.
paid
It's just
28
fucking
billion, and you know what they
drinking
did to
is
pay it?
annoying
Joe?
me.
They devalued their currency, and they also paid up. And you know who got the money? Our farmers, our great farmers, because they were targeted. You never charged them anything. Also, I charged them 25% on dumped steel because they were killing our steel industry. We were not going to have a steel industry.
Okay.
And now we
he
have a
said,
steel
look.
Okay, Vice President Biden, your response, please.
Our response is, look.
Oh,
this
you're a
isn't
couple
about-
seconds ahead of me.
There's a reason why he's bringing up
drink
all this
though. Fucking
malarkey.
hell.
There's a
Okay,
reason.
I
Talk about
fucking
the
hell.
Pause,
substantive
unpause.
issues. It's
That
not
way
about his
I'm on
family
time.
and my family. It's about your family. And
There he
your
goes,
family's
talking to
hurting
his fucking
badly.
people again.
Oh, for
If you're
fuck's
making less
sake.
than, if you're a middle-class family, you're getting hurt badly
When will
right
Democrats
now.
learn people who
We're
are
sitting at the
racist
kitchen
aren't
table this
racist?
morning deciding, well, we can't get
Because
new tires, they're bald
it-
because we have to wait
Don't
another
delete
month
this.
or
I'm
so.
going to
Or are we
explain,
gonna be able to pay
Rosemary,
the
that
mortgage?
this
Who's
English
gonna tell her
only that
she
is
can't go
what
back
Oh, right,
to community college?
Yeah,
They're
leave
the
it up.
decisions you're making.
Karma.
The middle-class families like I grew up in Scranton and Claymont. They're in trouble. We should be talking
I don't
about
mind
your
hearing
families, but
Ghana.
that's the last thing he
I'm
wants
learning
to talk
Japanese.
about.
It's just
I
like
wanna-
it's not helpful.
I want to
for
talk
everybody.
about
statement.
North Korea.
Excuse me, just
I do
for
want
1
to turn
second,
to
please.
10 seconds, Mr. President.
That's
10
a
seconds.
typical political statement. Let's get off this China thing, and then he looks, the family, around the table, everything.
I
Just
like
a
this
typical
comment.
politician when I
I
see that.
Let's
hate
talk about
not
this
North
a typical
Korea.
politician.
Okay.
That's why I got
I'm
elected.
down with Trump
Now,
on
Let's
it.
talk-
Let's get off the subject
You're
of
talking
China.
about
Dickhead.
China,
Sitting
right?
around the
And
table.
now we're like,
Come on,
okay,
David,
now we're
you
gonna go
do
back
better.
to
We're
talking
gonna
about the
talk
people
about
around the
North
table,
Korea now.
and we're talking
President
about
Trump has
families
met
at
with
home.
North
Like,
Korean
what's
leader Kim
what's
Ah.
Jong-un.
relevant?
Always
Talked
lost
about
on nothing
beautiful
else. That's a
letters
fucking
with him.
Wings of
He's touted the
Redemption
fact that
quote.
there hasn't
Look,
been a
look
war
here, look,
or a
listen.
long-range missile test, and yet North Korea recently rolled out its biggest ever intercontinental
mate, how many
ballistic
shots are you
missile
in?
and continues to
I don't know.
develop
I've
its
just been
nuclear
pouring it
arsenal.
into a
Do you
like a
see
low
that
ball.
as a betrayal of
I'm
the
in, like,
relationship
6 or
you
7
forged?
now.
Just 30 seconds here because we need to get on to the next
So
Although
when I met
most of the
with
bottle's
Barack
empty, though.
Obama, we
Yeah, I was
sat
gonna say I've killed.
right at the
It
beginning.
was
had
half
a great
full when I
conversation. It
have
was
it.
supposed
When
to
I
be
had it.
15 minutes, and it was well over
Making
an hour.
progress, people.
So the biggest problem we have
Yeah,
with
I might
North
have to
is
buy a
North
new bottle
Korea.
of Knob Creek.
He
I'll need some
indicated
candy
we
cane,
will be in
Jim.
a war
Please
with
donate
North
to Trump's
Korea.
Streamlabs so
Guess
he can buy
what?
more Knob Creek.
It would be a nuclear war. And he
Yes,
does have
thank you
plenty
for
of
fueling my
nuclear
alcohol.
capability. In the
The
meantime,
liver
I have a very
fund.
good relationship with him. Different kind of a guy, but he probably thinks the same
Also,
thing about
this is
me.
an interesting
We have a different
concept.
kind
The
of
whole thing
relationship.
between Trump and
We have
North
a very
Korea.
good
It's a
relationship,
weird
and there's no
relationship.
war.
It is.
Yeah,
And, you know,
North Korea
up
recently
to months
unveiled
ago,
one of their
he
largest
broke into a
ICBMs.
certain area. They said,
And
"Oh,
a
there's
lot of
gonna be
people were
trouble." I
like,
said,
what the
"No, they're
fuck?
not,"
I thought we were
because he's
getting
not gonna
along
do
with
that.
this,
And I was
right?
right. Look, Instead of being in a war where millions of people, Seoul, is 25 miles away.
And Trump describes him as
Millions and
kind of a
millions,
different guy.
32 million
And I
people in
think
Seoul.
Kim
Millions
Jong-un
of
thinks
people
I'm
would
the
be
same.
dead right now.
Yeah.
President
And
Trump,
I'm like,
last 30
those are true.
seconds.
Good
Thank you.
relationship.
Vice President Biden, to you. North Korea conducted 4 nuclear tests under the Obama administration. Why do you think you would be able to rein in this persistent threat right
Because
now?
I'd make it clear, which we were making clear to China, they had to be part of the
Biden?
deal. Because here's I made it clear, and as a spokesperson of the administration when I went to
Oh.
China, that they said, "Why are you moving your
It's
missile
happening.
defense up so close? Why are you,
What do you mean?
moving more forces?
starting
here?
to go.
Why are you continuing to do?
Yes. Yes. Right about here,
military
you start seeing his
maneuvers with
eyes
South
go
Korea?"
fucking
I said,
wide,
because
and he starts talking
North
with his
Korea
hands,
is a problem,
and shit goes
and we're
crazy.
going to continue to do it so we can control them.
I'm not,
We're gonna
by the
make
way,
sure
for
we
those
can
who are
control them and
Biden
make
supporters,
sure
I'm not
they
trying to
cannot hurt
devalue
us.
him
And
at
so
all.
if you want to do something about it, step up and help. If not,
but
it's going to continue.
he
What has
is
he done? He's
losing a little
legitimized
control,
North
a
Korea.
little
He's talked
control.
about his good buddy who's a thug, and he talks about how we're better off, and they have much more capable missiles, able to reach U.S. territory much more easily than ever did before.
Let me follow up with you, Vice President Biden. You've said you wouldn't meet with Kim Jong-un without preconditions. Are there any conditions under which you would meet with him?
On the condition that he would agree that he would be drawing down his nuclear capacity.
The Korean
The
Peninsula
Korean
should be a
Peninsula should be
nuclear-free zone. Okay,
All right,
who's
let's
telling
move on
South
to
Korea?
American families.
Yeah.
They tried
By the
to
way,
meet with
10
him.
seconds,
They
President.
tried to meet with him. He
Didn't
wouldn't do
Trump
it.
not have
He didn't
preconditions and
like
just met him?
Obama.
Yeah.
He didn't like him. He wouldn't do it.
That's
Okay, I gotta give
that's
him a
They
chance to
tried.
respond to that
He
before we
That's-
move
And
on.
then after they
And
met,
that's
then
okay.
they established
You
their
know what?
conditions.
North Korea?
Yeah.
We're not in a war. We have a good relationship. People don't understand. Having a good relationship
Trump,
with
Having
leaders
a
of
good
other
relationship with
We have a
leaders of
lot
other
of
countries is a
questions
good
to
thing.
get to.
Yes.
Not
Your
to
response.
extend, we had a
Agreed.
good relationship
Civ
with
players
Hitler
also
before he, in
agree.
fact, invaded.
I now want to play Civ
Europe.
6.
I
The
kind
rest
of
of
do too.
Europe. Come
By the
on.
way, the fact that
The
Biden's
reason
being allowed
he
to
would
just
not meet
speak
with
is
President
quite
Obama
frustrating
because
to me.
President Obama said,
Yes,
we're going
it
to talk
is.
about
The moderator is
denuclearization.
terribly
We're not
biased,
going
but
to
they did a good
legitimize you.
job.
We're going to continue to
yeah,
push
so
They
far
did a
not
good
too
job
much.
not being an
sanctions on you.
asshole.
Yeah,
That's
it's actually
why
not
he
so bad,
wouldn't
I
meet
will
with
say.
us.
Although I was
All right,
expecting
But
a
let's
they
little
still
move
more.
have
on. Let's
Excuse
move on
me.
and talk
He
about
left
American
me a
families.
mess, Kristen.
President Trump.
They
Okay,
left
we
me a
do
mess.
need
They
to move
left
on.
me a mess.
North Korea is a mess.
North Korea was a mess.
We
And
need
in
to
fact,
move
if
on
you
so that
remember
we
the
can get
first
to
2
all
or
of our
3
other
months,
questions tonight,
there was a
President
very
Trump.
dangerous period in my first 3 months before we sort of
remember
worked
this
things
comment
out
at
a
all,
little
and
bit.
I watched this
There was a
fucking
very
debate last night.
They left us a mess, and Obama would be, I think, the first to say it was the single biggest problem he thought that our country
Okay,
Oh,
let's
boy,
move
we're talking
on to
about American families. Let's go.
and the
Woo.
economy. One of
Yay.
the issues that's most important to them is health care, as you both know.
Oh, healthcare.
Today there
Oh,
was
no.
a key vote on a new Supreme Court Justice, Amy Coney Barrett, and health care is at the center
This is a
of our
bad one.
confirmation fight. Over 20 million Americans
Who the
get their
fuck
health
sent me a
insurance
friend
through the
request? Oh,
Affordable Care
feel my
Act.
shock.
It's
Feel my
headed to the
exit back.
Supreme
Is
Court.
it-
I was like, who the fuck
and
sent me a friend
President
request on
Mr.
Discord?
President
Wildly.
is advocating for the court
Yeah.
to overturn
'cause
it.
it fucking
If the
was.
Supreme Court does overturn that law, those 20 million Americans could lose their health insurance
Oh, no.
almost
I
overnight. So
feel it
what
rush
would
in
you
my
do
glass.
if those people have their
Okay,
health
look.
insurance taken away? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Can I
First of all,
pause?
I've already done something that
Yeah,
nobody
sure, go ahead.
Right, I paused at 107.40. There is a
Oh, I
debate.
knew.
There's a debate about healthcare. Is it a right or a privilege? Now, I I don't have a position on this because I'm in the United Kingdom, and so we and people say it's free at the point of use. That's not true. We all pay national insurance, and that goes, well, the government assign it a budget, but that's what the money's supposed to go towards. Okay? So I don't have a position, because in our country it is a right. But we don't have what you guys have, and that's a constitution. So to you, as an American, is it a privilege or a right, or is it both, perhaps?
Okay, so my first thought was both, but then I was thinking about it for a little bit more. And the answer is it's a privilege, and here's why. You don't have the God-given, as the Constitution would lead you to believe, you don't have the God-given right to other people's labor, right? So, if you're on an island by yourself and you get hurt, you don't get a right to medical care, right? You have the right still to defend yourself. You have the right to say whatever the fuck you want. You have the right to gather wherever you want, right?
Okay.
But you don't have the right to compel somebody else to perform a task for you. That's really that's not a thing.
Okay, that makes it. So this is where I assume this comes down to people not knowing their own constitution. Then.
Well, it's not even that. It's that people think that healthcare is along the same lines as other rights that we have derived from the Constitution. So we have enumerated rights, which are the ones specifically mentioned in the Bill of Rights and Constitution. And then we have derived rights, which were interpretations based on law that has basically brought in other laws into those things. For example, based on the Fourth Amendment, being that you are the government may not perform illegal search and seizures against you.
Mm-hmm.
We have derived a quote unquote right to privacy, right? But that doesn't exist. You actually don't have a right to privacy, but like you do. You see what I mean? It's because
I do.
If you have a right against illegal search and seizure, that means that certain things about yourself can be private.
Hey, Trups.
Yeah.
The chat think you're drunk.
Yeah, fuck them.
That's Joe and Disc now, by the way.
I don't give a fuck.
Should I press play now, by the way?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
I just wanted your answer. So 3, 2, 1, play.
I thought was possible. Through the legislature, I terminated the individual mandate. That is the worst part of Obamacare, as we call it. The individual mandate where you have to pay a fortune for the privilege of not having to pay for bad
I have heard
health insurance.
conflicting perspectives from
It's
Americans
gone.
on this.
Now it's in court.
Some were
because
creators, and they
Obamacare
all
is no
said,
good.
even though they were
But then I made
disabled,
a
it
decision,
wasn't
run it
benefiting
as
them
well
to
as
be
you
on
can
have
to
Obamacare.
my people, great people.
Obamacare
Run it
took
as
away
well as you
people's
can. I could have gone the
plans.
other route and made everybody very
Biden will
unhappy.
say that
They ran
Biden,
it.
that Obamacare
Premiums are
did
down,
not,
everything's down. Here's the problem. No
take
matter
away
how
people's
well you run
private
it, it's no
healthcare.
good. What we'd
But
like to do is
there are
terminate
multiple
it. We have the
individuals who will
individual
say,
mandate done.
yes,
I don't
yes,
know that it's going to
Obamacare
work. If
forced
we
me
don't
out.
win,
A lot of
we will have to
freelancers,
run
for
it,
instance.
and we'll have Obamacare, but it'll be better run. But it no longer is
What's the rule
Obamacare
on
because
healthcare for
without
this,
the
by the way?
individual mandate, it's much different. Pre-existing conditions
there is a
will
rule
always
on
stay.
healthcare.
What I would like to do is a much better healthcare, much
there?
better.
Climate change,
Will always
BLM for
protect
Biden.
people with pre-existing. So I'd like to terminate Obamacare,
fails to
come up with
announce
a
white
brand new,
supremacy,
beautiful
brings up
health care.
Hunter and
The
White
Democrats will do it
story,
because there'll be
posting
tremendous
of
pressure on them, and we
No
might
rules.
even
So,
have
yeah,
the House
we
by
don't
that
have
time.
anything.
And I think
fuck
we're
for
going to
that.
win the House, okay? You'll
Yeah, I
see,
agree.
but I think we're going to win the House. But come up with a better
We might win the House, to be fair. You might do
always
it.
protecting people with pre-existing conditions.
I
And one
think
thing
they're
very
going
important,
to.
we have 180 million people out there that have great private health care, far more than we're talking about with Obamacare. Joe Biden is going to terminate all of those policies. These are people that love their health care, people that have been successful, middle-income people, been successful. They have
watching. I'll be right back.
180
be
million
like
plans,
30 seconds.
180 million people, families. Under what he wants to do, which will
How they do the
basically
time,
be
like,
socialized
oh,
medicine,
Trump,
he
you're
won't
going
even
to
have
get
a
10
choice.
seconds, and then
They
a
wanna
minute
terminate
later,
180
oh, your 10
million
seconds are
plans.
up.
We have done an
Okay.
incredible job on health care, and we're going to do even better.
Okay.
Oh,
President
he
Biden, yes,
got
this is
cut.
for you. Your health care plan calls for building on Obamacare.
Nice.
So my question is, what is your plan if the law is ruled unconstitutional by the Supreme Court? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
What I'm going to do is pass Obamacare with a public option. It'll become Biden care. The public option
Oh,
is an
God.
option that says that if
Biden
you,
care?
in fact, do not have the wherewithal to be, if you qualify for Medicaid and you do not have the wherewithal in your state to get Medicaid, you automatically are enrolled, providing competition for insurance companies. That's what's going to happen. Secondly, we're going to make sure we reduce the premiums and reduce drug prices by making sure that there's competition that doesn't exist now by allowing the Medicare to negotiate drug prices with
It'll be very
the
hard to
insurance
drive the
companies.
price of
Thirdly,
medication down.
the idea
if
that I
those
want to
companies already
eliminate
hold a
private insurance.
monopoly.
The reason why I had
I'm
such
back.
a fight for
What'd I miss?
Not
with
much.
20 candidates
Biden
for
care?
the nomination was I
Biden care.
support
Fuck Biden
private
care.
insurance.
That was
That's
actually
why
that was
I
the
do
greatest comment
not
because
one
I saw some
single
post last
person
night
with
where it
private
was just
insurance
like
would
Biden,
lose their
I'm gonna change it
insurance
into
under my
Biden care.
plan,
Obama sitting
nor
there like,
did they
what?
under Obama. They did not lose their insurance unless they chose they wanted to go to something else. Lastly, we're going to make sure we're in a situation that we actually protect pre-existing.
There's
There's
no way
way
he
he
can
can protect
protect
pre-existing
pre-existing
conditions.
conditions? Are you
None.
sure?
Zero. You can't do it in the ether. He's been talking about this for a long time.
Biden's in the
There
warp.
is he's never come up with a plan. I guess we're going to get the pre-existing condition plan the same time we get
Have you
the
noticed his
infrastructure
eyes
plan.
have gone a lot
that
wider?
we waited since
I
17, 18,
thought
19,
he was
20.
Dark
The
Elder
fact-
in
I
the
still have
sense
a
that it looked like
few
his
more
skin
minutes.
was
I know
being
you're getting
pulled
anxious.
back, so his eyes are a bit wild.
The fact is that
Yeah, it's a little
he's
crazy,
already cost the
actually.
American
Whereas
people
the
because
video
of
of
terrible
Trump
handling
makes
of
his
the
skin look
COVID
like it's
virus
part
and
green,
economic
part pink,
spillover.
and part orange.
10
The video
million
quality
people
is
have
not
lost
great.
their private
I mean, of
insurance.
course, the
And he wants to
lizard
take
men
away
politicians
22
that are
million more
running
people who have it
I
under
can't be the only
Obamacare,
one that thinks
and over
he's,
110
looking a bit lizardy
million
right
people
now.
with pre-existing conditions. And all the people from COVID are going
But
to have
like, he's not
pre-existing
part of the
conditions.
political
What are they
elite,
going to
so
do?
he obviously
I have a
wouldn't
follow-up for you,
be
Vice President Biden.
lizard.
It relates to something that President Trump said. He's accusing
The
you of
actual
doing
lizard
socialized
men have
medicine. What do you
plenty
say to
of
people
fucking
who have
camouflage
concerns that your
available
health care plan, which includes a government insurance option, takes the country one step closer to a health care system
And
run
boink, boy,
entirely
actually,
by
that's
the
a fair
government?
point.
What's
I
your
say
response
it's
to that?
ridiculous. It's like saying
Obama
that,
got changed state by state.
We're the idea that the fact that there's a public option
I
that
don't
people
know.
can choose.
I'm not
that
sure.
makes it a social.
I was
all I
thinking
know
it
is
was.
that
The
certain,
difference between the president, I think,
certain
healthcare
states
is not
did
a privilege;
force
it's a right.
freelancers out of
Everyone
their
should have the right to have
respective,
affordable health care.
thing.
And I am very proud of my plan. It's gotten endorsed by all the major
Not all
labor
the major
unions,
labor
as well
unions.
as-
That's a
As
lie.
well as a whole range of other people who, in fact,
I
are concerned
doubt
in the
that
medical
the coal
field.
miners
This
give
is
you a-
something that's
give
going
a
to save
fuck
people's
about
lives.
Obamacare.
And this is going to give some people an opportunity to have health care for their children. How many of you home are worried and rolling around in bed tonight wondering what in God's
Oh,
name
I
you're
mean,
gonna do if you get sick?
I'm very concerned
Because
about
you've
that, but
lost
that's what
your
I have
home
life insurance
your health
for.
insurance your company's gone under. We have to provide health insurance for people at an affordable rate, and that's what I do.
Trump, say some water, dude.
President
I've-
Trump,
He was
your
there
So,
response.
for
The question is,
47
what do you say to
years.
people
He
who are
didn't do it.
fearful of a
He
government
was now
takeover of
there as
healthcare?
vice
See, I'm not,
president for 8 years,
I'm not in
and it's
favor.
not
I
like
don't
it
like
was
the idea of
25 years
that.
ago.
Government
It was
controlling
3
everything. It's
and
it's
3/4.
not
It was
okay.
just a little while ago, right? Less than 4 years ago. He didn't do anything. He didn't do it. He wants socialized medicine, and it's not that he wants it. His vice president, I mean, she is more liberal than Bernie Sanders and wants it even
Fuck
more.
you.
Bernie Sanders wants it. The Democrats want it. You're going to have socialized
okay.
medicine.
Don't see what
Just
that
like
is.
he went out
Sorry.
with fracking. We're not going to have fracking. We're going to stop fracking. We're going to stop fracking. Then he goes to Pennsylvania after he gets a nomination where he got very lucky to get it. And he goes to Pennsylvania and he says, oh, we're going to have fracking. And you never ask that question. And by the way, so far, I respect very much the way you're handling this, I have to say.
By the way-
But somebody should ask the question.
You can ask
He
the-
goes for a year. There will
that an
be
We
no
interruption?
fracking. There
we
will
do
be
have
no
a number of
petroleum.
topics
No,
we're
no,
going to
but
get
that's a
to.
big- that's a big question.
We're going to get to. We're going to get to.
It's
The
a
same
number
They're not
thing
gonna
with
ask him, are
socialized
they?
I have to
medicine.
respond.
Vice President, your response, please.
My response is people deserve to have affordable health care, period. Period, period, period.
Oh, boy.
And the Biden care proposal will, in fact, provide
Please
for that
look at the
affordable
camera,
health
I
care.
dare you.
Lower premiums. What we're going to do is going to cost some money. It's going to cost over $750 billion over 10 years to do it. And they're going to have lower premiums. You can buy into the better plans, the cheaper plans, lower your premiums, deal
back.
with
I got my microwave, quote-unquote, burrito.
drug
Oh, I know you had a
prices drop
microwave going. I heard the
significantly. He keeps
beeping.
talking about it. He hasn't
fuck you
done
guys.
a thing
Okay,
for
guys.
anybody on health care. Not a thing.
Kristen, when
Very
he
clear.
Got
I don't
home
wanna
late,
talk
I
about
sat
what
down, I
happened.
started
He's
drinking for
talking
the
about
fucking stream.
socialized
Fuck
medicine.
you.
And when he and healthcare,
Yeah.
when he talks about a public option, he's talking about destroying your Medicare, totally
Wrong.
destroyed, and destroying your Social Security, and this whole country will come down. You know, Bernie Sanders tried it in his state. He tried it in his state. His governor was a very liberal governor. They wanted to make it work.
Okay,
It
let's
was
let Vice President
impossible
Biden
to work.
respond.
It doesn't
Vice
work.
President
He's
Biden,
a very
your
confused
response.
guy. He thinks he's running against somebody else. He's running against Joe Biden. I beat all those other people because I disagreed with them.
No,
Joe
you
Biden
beat
is
them
running
because
against.
your party
And the
wanted
idea
you and not
that we're in a
Sanders.
situation that they're going to destroy
Yeah.
Medicare. This is
That
the
was
guy
proven in
that
2015
actually
too.
Medicare said,
And you barely
if,
turned
in
up.
fact, at Social Security.
That's how
if,
we
in
know
fact, he
they
continues
wanted
to
you,
withhold
because they
his
used
plan
you
to withhold
sparingly.
the
Less
tax
is
on
more,
Social Security.
apparently.
Social Security will be bankrupt by
Remember when we were going over the primaries,
2023.
going like,
With
is
no
Biden going
way
to be
to
a
make up
relevant
for it.
person?
This
Yeah,
is
we
the guy
were.
who's tried to cut Medicare. So no, I mean, the idea that
And
Donald
Bonk
Trump
Boy,
is
Bonk Boy,
lecturing
I
me
agree
on
actually with the
Social
inflated
Security and
medicine
Medicare.
costs.
Come
I
on.
fully agree with you on that.
He tried to get
10
rid of. He
seconds, Mr.
tried to hurt
President, and then I
Social
have to go to
Security
another
years
question.
ago. Years ago.
That's the interruption, isn't
Go
it?
back and look at the records. He tried to hurt
Drink.
Social Security years ago.
All
One
right,
thing,
let's move
but
on.
this
I'm
is
going to
the
move
guy
on.
when they
Mr.
announced-
President, I have to move on to the next question.
They said
or
the
else
stock
we're not
market
gonna have
will
time to
boom
talk about it.
if I'm elected. If he's elected, the stock market will crash.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's move on to the next
saying.
question.
Patriarch's right.
Very
Who else
quickly.
would you fucking watch after us?
The idea that the
Oh.
stock market is booming is his only measure of what's happening. Where I come from in Scranton and Claymont, the people don't live off of the stock market. Just in the
Yeah,
in
and
the
this
last
is where Biden
3
starts to
years
go
during
fucking
this
insane.
crisis, the billionaires in this country made,
He starts to
according
trip up a bit.
Wall Street, $700 billion more dollars. $700 billion more dollars. Because that's his only measure. What happens to the ordinary people out there?
feel like Trump's gonna
what
win
happens to
2020.
them?
Let's
Yeah,
talk about what's happening on
401ks,
Capitol Hill. We're going to
Kristen,
move on.
401ks
Disruption.
are through the roof.
Drink for
We're gonna
this
move
game.
on.
Yeah.
Are through the roof,
All right.
and he doesn't come from Scranton. That's like one
I
of.
feel
He
like
lived
mine's
there
100
for a
proof.
short
How are you
period of
doing,
time
Zayos?
before
Okay,
he even knew
we're
it.
going to
Chaos.
move on to
And
the
he
next
left. And
question.
the people of Pennsylvania
Let me
will
move
show
on
you
to my
that.
next question.
Mine
gentlemen.
is
As
80
of tonight,
proof
more than
by your
12
measure.
million
Yeah,
people
mine's
are
100
out
mine's
of
100
work.
proof.
And as of tonight,
I've been
8
drinking a little
million
bit more, though,
Americans
just 'cause
have
I wanted
fallen
to
into
try and
poverty,
even up a little
and
bit,
more
'cause I know
families
you
are
had
going
higher
hungry
top,
every
higher
day.
level.
Those hit hardest are women and people of color. They see Washington
they're
fighting
personal
over a relief bill. Mr. President, why haven't you been able to get them the help they need? 30 seconds here.
There's a
Because
insulin
Nancy
substitute
Pelosi
for
doesn't want to
$25 you
approve
can
it.
get.
I do.
But you're the president.
My
I
brother's
do, but I
diabetic.
still have to get. Unfortunately, that's one of the reasons I think we're going to take over the House because of her. Nancy Pelosi doesn't want to approve anything because she'd love to have some victories on a date called November 3rd. Nancy Pelosi
Yeah,
does
the
not
stimulus
want to approve
bill
it.
has been
we
a
are
hot,
ready, willing, and able to
contentious
do
fucking
something.
point.
Don't forget,
Has been,
we've
yeah.
already approved 3 plans, and it's
And
gone through,
I think
including
it's
the
really
Democrats, in
hard
all fairness.
because a lot
this one
of
she doesn't want. It's
a
near
lot of
the
those
election
reps right now
because
are
she thinks it helps
basically
her
being
politically.
prepared
I think
to
it hurts her
hold down their
politically.
All right,
seats.
Mr. Vice President,
You know, the Republican leader in the United
so-
States Senate said he can't pass it. He will not be able to
A
pass it.
lot of them
He
are
does not have
either not
Republican
doing
votes.
it or
Why
are
isn't he
trying
talking to
really,
his
really hard to
Republican
push
friends?
it.
let me follow up with you, Vice President.
we made a
Biden,
deal-
because
Depends on if
let me,
they're
let me
holding
ask
seats
Vice
or
President
Interruption.
Biden a question. You are the leader
Okay.
of the Democratic Party. Why have you not pushed the Democrats to get a deal for the American people?
Well, I have, and they have pushed it. Look, they passed this act
good.
all the way back in the beginning of the summer. This is like it's not new. It's been out there. This HEROES Act has been sitting
Biden's
there.
getting mad.
And look at what's happening. When I was in charge of the Recovery Act with $800 billion, I was able to get $145 billion to local communities that have to balance their budgets and states that have to balance their budgets, so then have to fire firefighters, teachers, first
Teachers
responders,
are not in the
law
same
enforcement
category
officers, so
as
they can keep their
firefighters and
cities
police. I'm
counties running.
sorry.
He will not support that. They have not done a thing for them. And Mitch McConnell said, let them go bankrupt. Let them go bankrupt. Come on. What's the matter with
The bill that
you
was
guys?
passed in the House was a bailout of badly run, high crime, Democrat, all run by Democrats,
Everybody's
cities
getting
and
mad,
states.
Gorman.
It was a way of getting a lot of money, billions and billions of dollars to these states. It was also a way of getting a lot of money from our people's pockets to people that come into our country illegally. We were going to take care of everything for them. And what that does, and I'd love to do that, I'd love to help them, but what that does, everybody all over the world will start pouring into our country. We can't do it. This was a way of taking care of them. This was a way of spending on things that had nothing to do with COVID, as per your question. But it was really a big bailout for badly run Democrat cities and states.
All right,
By
I
the way,
want
if
to.
I get elected, I'm not going to. I'm
Does
running
that
as a proud
interruption
Democrat.
count for
I'm going
him?
to be an American president. I don't see red states and blue states. What I see is American, United States. And folks,
Drink.
every single state out there finds themselves in trouble. They're going to start laying off, whether they're red or blue. Cops,
this stuff doesn't taste
firefighters,
good anymore.
First responders, because teachers, because they have to balance their budget. And the founders were smart. They allowed the federal government to deficit spend to compensate for the United States of America.
I want
fuck's
to talk about
sake.
the minimum wage, gentlemen. Mr. Vice
Come on,
President,
Biden.
we are talking a lot about struggling small businesses
Yes.
and business owners these days. Do you think
That
this
stuff
is the
is
right time to ask them to raise the
rank
minimum
now.
wage? You, of course, supported
Yeah, I was going to say,
$15
now you're never going to want
I
to drink
do,
that shit
because I
ever
think
That's like
one
again.
of the
three
things we're gonna have
times.
to do is we're going to have
Three.
to bail them out too. We should be bailing them out now. Those small businesses. You got 1 in 6 of them going under. they're not going to be able to make it back. They passed a package that allows us to be able to call PPP. Money is supposed to go to help them do everything from organize how they can deal with their businesses being open safely. Schools, how they can
it's not
make
classrooms that get smaller,
how they can
it's
hire
class
more teachers, how they can
sizes.
put ventilation systems in. They
It's because
need
class
the help.
sizes have
The
expanded to
businesses
like
as
30
well
kids,
as the schools
man.
need the
Not
help. But
classrooms.
these guys will not help them. It's not giving them any of the
give
money.
them the money.
We are going to move on to
Excuse me,
immigration,
one thing very
but I
quickly.
want
He
to
said
get
we
your
have to help our
reaction.
small businesses by raising the minimum wage. That's not helping.
I
I think
like
it should
how
be
our
a state
hosts are
action.
slightly less sloppy
Alabama
than
is
this
different
debate.
than New York.
You're
New York
welcome.
Is different from Vermont.
Actually,
Every state
he's
is
right
different.
here.
It
Means
should be a state
assessing it.
option.
You
He's
said very
right.
We have to
recently-
help. It's very important.
We do it here
We
with
have to help our
COVID
small
response,
businesses.
means
You-
assessing
you
it, and I
Helping
agree
the
with
small
that.
businesses when you're
and
forcing
who's
wages,
interrupting
what's
who
gonna
here? Is
happen
Trump
and what's
interrupting
been
her or the
proven
other way
to happen
around?
Is when you do that,
I don't
these
know.
small
It's
businesses
open.
fire
It's
many
the
of
open
their
section,
You said
employees.
very
and I
recently
think
you
at this
consider
point
raising the
everything's
federal
just gone
minimum
down
wage to
to fucking
$15
shit.
an hour.
It
You
has,
said
and I'm
recently
really
you would
scared 'cause I
consider
don't wanna be
raising the
drinking
federal
too
minimum
much
wage
more.
to $15 an hour. Is that still the case?
And I would consider it to an extent.
In a
What I
second
really
administration?
like-
Well,
what I
okay,
like
that's
in
an
a second
interruption, at
administration,
least
That's an
there.
interruption.
not
I'll
to
take
a
that.
level
I'll
that's going
take
to put
that.
all these businesses out of business. It should be a state option. Look, I've lived in different places. I know different places.
Oh my
They're all
God, Trump,
different.
you slurring? Oh
Some
God, you're gonna fall
places,
over. Of course I'm gonna
$15
fall
is not so
over.
bad.
I'm sitting in a
In
chair.
other
I'm not gonna
places,
fall
other
over.
states,
Fucking
Don't,
weirdo.
mate. I'm in a broke.
Okay,
I'm in a
President Trump, thank you.
dining room
Quick
chair.
response, Vice
If I fall
President
out of my
Biden.
chair, it's gonna
Two
hurt.
jobs, one job.
Oh no!
below
Someone sent
poverty.
an EMS.
People are
to
making
Meg's
$6, $7,
stat.
$8 an hour. These first responders.
I got a new chair arriving tomorrow at
They
least.
come down the
Leaning
street
over, shut the
because
fuck
they've
up.
allowed us to make what's happening. They deserve
That's his
a
chair
minimum wage
creaking,
of
not
$15.
mine.
That is this chair. I'm leaning
Anything
back in it
below that
actually
puts you
because I want
below
to try
the
and straighten my
poverty
back
level.
hurts so
And
much.
There is no evidence that when you raise the minimum wage, businesses go out of business. That is simply not true.
We're gonna
Okay,
talk about immigration.
incorrect.
We're going to talk about
All
immigration.
right, here we go.
now,
Immigration.
gentlemen.
That was
And
totally
we're
on
gonna
the
talk
list
about
of
families
fucking
within
topics,
this
right?
context. Mr.
Right?
President, your
No.
administration separated children from their parents at the border. At least 4,000 kids.
Chris Wallace was
You've
so
since
biased,
reversed
yeah.
your zero tolerance
Drink,
policy,
drink.
but the United
Stop,
States
Normie.
can't locate the parents
You gotta
of
do this to
500
me.
children.
Fuck
so
you,
how
Joe.
will these families ever be reunited?
Children are brought here by coyotes and lots of bad people.
No.
Cartels, and they're
fine
brought
about
here.
that.
And they used
I'm
to
gonna fill my
use them
glass
to
up.
get into our
No.
country. We now have as strong a border as we've ever had. We're
Yo,
over 400
okay,
miles of
okay.
brand new
Did
wall.
you see
the,
the
numbers, and
blue
we let
check
people in, but
mark
they have to
Twitter
come in legally, and they come
fucking
in
not
through the-
understand
But how will you
unite
that
kids with their
coyotes
families,
was a
Mr. President?
They built
fucking
cages. You know, they used to
word
say, "I
for
built the
human
cages."
traffickers,
And then they had a
not
picture of a
literal
certain
fucking dog
newspaper.
animals.
Actually, I
There was
did
a
know that as
picture of
well.
these
I knew
horrible
that.
cages, and they said,
Okay,
"Look at these
apparently
cages."
a representative
President
from
Trump built
Georgia
them. And then
didn't.
it was determined they were built.
Oh, you've been told to
In
eat your burrito, by the
2014,
way.
that was him.
That's
Do you
I
have a
built
plan
ate
to
it
reunite the
already.
kids?
Yes,
I
we're
scarfed
working
it
on
down in
very-
less than 30
we're
seconds.
trying
Leave me alone.
very hard. But none of these kids come out without the parents. They come over
We
through
need more
cartels
drunk
and through
Megan Trump
coyotes
James.
and through
I'm
gangs.
not really drunk, to
Vice
be
President
fair.
Biden, let me bring you into this
buzzed.
conversation.
I'm buzzed.
Quick response and then another question to you.
These 500
I don't wanna
plus
talk about
kids came with parents. They separated them at the
You'll
border
sleep well later.
to make it a disincentive to come
I hope
together.
so. I have an
Big,
appointment.
real
that day.
tough. We're really strong. And guess what? They cannot. It's not coyotes didn't bring them over. Their parents.
No,
were
you
with
don't
them.
know that,
They got
Biden.
separated
You
from
don't
their
know that
parents.
it was their
That's an
parents who
it's
brought
an
Makes them
them
a
over.
assertion.
laughing
It's an
stock and
assertion.
Violates every notion
You
of who
don't
we
know
are as a
that.
nation.
Let me ask you a follow-up
Kristen,
question.
they did it. We changed the policy.
Your response
they
to
did
that?
it. We
We
changed.
did not.
Yes, you
They
did,
set the
Biden.
cages.
Obama
They-
built
Who
the
built the
cages.
cages?
Let's talk
That
about
is
what
true,
we're
actually.
talking about.
Cages.
Let's
That's a
talk
lie,
about
isn't
what
it?
we're talking about. What happened?
It's a lie
Parents
from
were
Biden.
Ripped, their
Oh,
kids were
fuck
ripped
it.
from their arms and separated.
Oh.
And now they cannot find over 500
Because they were
sets of those
fucking
parents,
coyotes
those
and
kids are
criminals.
alone. Nowhere to go.
Let's not forget those
Nowhere to
caravans
go.
as well.
It's criminal. It's criminal.
Do you remember that
Let
one?
me ask
Kristen,
you
I will
about
say
Coming
this.
from,
They went
10
down.
seconds,
We
Honduras,
and then I
brought
was it?
reporters, everything.
Yeah, you remember the one where they
are
fucking
so
used a
well
child as a
taken
human
care of.
shield
They're in
against tear
facilities
gas?
that we
I remember
sent
it.
But some of them
Yeah.
haven't been
Such good-
reunited
but
with
That
their
just
picture
parents.
was
one
fucking
question.
god
Who
awful.
That
built the
was pretty
cages?
bad.
I'd love you to ask him that. Who built the cages?
Let me ask ask about
Trump's,
your
he can't
immigration
hear you.
policy,
Stop
Mr.
yelling
Vice
at him.
President.
I
The
know.
Obama administration did fail to deliver immigration reform, which had been
These
a
are
key
all the thoughts that I
promise
had last
during the
night, too.
administration. It also presided over record
And unfortunately, my
deportations as
fiance
well
had
as
to hear
family
it, and now
detentions
she
at
has
the
to hear
border
it drunk.
before changing course. So why should voters trust you with an immigration overhaul now?
Because we made a mistake. It took too long to get it right. It took too long to get it right. I'll be president of the United
So you're
States,
telling me
not
that
vice
Obama
president
did
of
it
the United
wrong?
States. And the fact is, I've made it very clear.
He says United States. Does that
Within
count?
100 days, I'm going to send to the United States
I don't know.
Congress
Do you want to count
pathway
it?
to citizenship
No,
for
he said it
over
twice. Fuck
11
that.
million undocumented people. And all of those so-called dreamers, those DACA kids, they're going to be immediately certified again to be able to stay in this country and put on a path to citizenship. The idea that they are being sent home by this guy, and they want to do that, is they
You
go into
apply
a
for
country they've
asylum
never
at the
seen
nearest,
before. I can imagine you're 5 years old, your
US
parents are taking you
fucking
across the
consulate
Yeah.
Rio
embassy.
Grande River, and
You
it's,
don't
and it's,
go
and it's
all the
illegal.
way. You don't
You say,
walk
"Oh no, Mom,
past
leave me here. I'm
5
not going to go with
fucking
you."
U.S.
They've been here.
embassies
Many of them are
to
model
go to
citizens.
Mexico's
Over 20,000
border
of them are first
to
responders
then show
out
up
there
at
taking
the
care of
border
people
to
during
then
this
apply for
crisis.
asylum. That's
We owe
literally
them.
nobody
We owe them.
who is trying to do it legal
President
has
Trump, you
ever
had 8
fucking
years
done that.
to do what he said he was going to do.
Except for the people
And I've changed-
literally
without having
running
a
from
specific-
persecution
we
from
got
their
rid of catch and
country,
release.
like
We
in
got rid of a
Cuba.
lot of horrible things that they put in and that they lived with. But he had 8 years he was vice president. He did nothing except build
kinda true.
cages to keep children in.
Vice President
Wrong.
Biden, your response.
The catch and release. You know
Catch
what
and
he's
release
talking
is
about there?
bad.
If in fact you had a family
You're
came
right.
across and they were arrested, they in fact were given a
That's
date
turned
to
into
show up for their
Grandpa
hearing.
laughing
They
possum.
were
He goes to
released,
TV
and guess
Shut the
what? They
fuck
showed up
Sif.
for a hearing. This is the first president
I
of the
hear your
United States of
stats.
America that's anybody seeking asylum has to do it in another country. That's never happened before in America. That's never
You're
happened
here
before
for
in
the two
America.
drunks.
No,
Come to the
Fuck
United
you.
States
to
of
America,
America,
make a
Fuck
case.
you,
You come to
Normie.
an
I
Fuck
seek asylum
you.
based on the following
I'm
premise:
not
why I
drunk.
deserve it
He
under
is.
American law.
I'm half
Vice
cut.
They're sitting in
presidents never do
squalor on the
anything.
other side
I don't
of the
know.
river.
Mike Pence has done pretty well as
President
the
Trump, your
as
response.
like
So
the leader
important.
of
And then
the
we'll move
It just
coronavirus
shows that
task
he
force.
has
I think.
no understanding of
Right, so let's go back.
immigration of the laws. Catch and release is a disaster. A murderer would come in, a rapist would come
Okay,
in.
yeah,
a
okay.
very
So
bad
I was always
person would
curious
come
about this.
in.
A murderer
We
would come
take
in,
their
a rapist
name.
would come
we have to
in,
release
and
them into our
unidentified,
country.
very bad person
And
would
then
come
you
in. I'm
say
like,
they come
what's
back.
left?
Less than 1%
Yeah, actually,
of the people come back. We have to send ICE out
Okay, first
and
you
Border
need to be
Patrol
more
out
often.
to find them. We would say, come
No.
back in 2 years, 3 years. We're going to give you a court case. You need Perry Mason. We're going
Don't
to give
say
you a
that.
court case.
You're getting mad at me.
When you say they come
I
back,
acknowledge
they
that.
don't come back, Joe. They never come back. Only the really, I hate to say this, but those with the
Yeah,
lowest
the
IQ,
lowest
they
IQ might
come
show
back.
up for their
Let's
fucking
give Vice
trial.
President Biden a chance to
She
respond,
said
and
that.
then we're going to move on to
Man.
the
You
next
don't know the
section.
law, Joe.
Vice President Biden, your response.
Know the law. What he's telling you is simply not
They
true.
don't come back. It's
Well,
true.
check it out. They don't
Catch
come
and
back.
release, they for the most
right,
part,
let's move
yes.
on. We don't have to
worry
Overstayed
about it. They
visas
terminated it,
are
so we
a
don't have to
vast
worry about it.
majority
Let's
of
move on
the
to the
legal
next
immigration
section.
population in the
kids
United
not knowing
States.
where in
Oh,
God's
that's
name they're gonna
amazing.
be and lost their parents.
Go ahead.
That's true.
Let's talk
Lower
about our
IQ.
next section, which is race
I mean,
in America.
oh my God, there's so
and
many
I want to
fucking
talk about the way
great
black
singers
and
by
brown
Trump that I haven't
Americans
acknowledged
experience
during
race in this country.
I saw that on Twitter and people
Part
were
of
like,
that
how dare he
experience
say
is
that?
something
But I didn't have the
called the
context.
talk. It
It's
happens
true, though.
regardless of
Like,
class
lower
and
IQ people
income.
would show up.
Parents who feel they
Coffee,
have no
yes.
choice but to
Eat
prepare
now.
their children for the chance that they could be targeted, including by the police, for no reason other than the color of their skin. Mr. Vice President, in the next 2
Oh, I
minutes,
fucking
I
hated
want you
this
to
question.
speak directly to these families. Do you
gonna talk
understand
to the
why
camera,
these
isn't he?
parents fear for their
No,
children?
no, he was
do.
asked to.
I do.
But basically,
know,
the
my
question
daughter is a
was,
social
black
worker,
people
and,
feel as if there is a
she's
danger
writ-
to
written
them.
a lot
So
about
parents
this.
have
She's
to
a
have a
graduate degree
quote
from the
unquote
University of
talk
Pennsylvania
with
social
their,
And,
their kids.
One of the reasons why I ended up working
But
on the east side of
involved with
Wilmington, Delaware,
police.
which is
And
90% African American,
How
was
would
to
you
learn more
address
about what was going
those
on. What
kids
I never had to
or
tell my
those
daughter
people
if she's pulled over, make sure she
with
puts
this situation?
if it's a
And it's
traffic
like,
stop, put both hands on top of the wheel and don't reach for the glove box because someone may shoot you. But a black parent,
Wait,
no
hold on.
matter how wealthy or how poor they are, has to teach their child when you're walking down the street, don't
I
have a
want
hoodie
everybody
on when
to
you go
hear
across
this.
the street. Making sure that you, in fact, if you get pulled over, yes, yes, sir, no, sir, hands on top of the wheel, because you are, in fact, the victim, whether you're a person making child of a $300,000 a year person, or someone who's on
Yes.
on
Okay.
food stamps.
Biden
The
just
fact of the
assumed
matter
that all
is
black
there
people were
is
on food stamps.
institutional racism in America, and we have always
That's-
said
that's-
we've never
that's
lived up
not
to it.
good.
We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women are created equal. But guess what?
Ugh.
We have never, ever lived up to. But we've always constantly been moving the needle further and further to inclusion, not exclusion. This is the first president to come along and says, that's the end of that. We're not going to do that anymore. We have to provide for economic opportunity, better education,
in this chat
better health care,
will treat
better access
Judge
to
Trupsy
schooling,
Wupsy
better
with
access
all the respect he
to
deserves.
opportunity to borrow money
I
to
don't know.
start
Do I
businesses.
deserve
All the
fucking
things we
respect
can
right
do,
now?
and I've laid out a clear plan as to how to do those things. Just to give people a shot. It's about accumulating the ability to have wealth as well as it is to be free from violence.
But the reason
President
I hated
Trump,
this question
same
was
question to you, and
because
let me
my
remind you
dad
of
is
the question. I would like you to
was a
speak
New
directly to
Jersey
these families. Do you
prosecutor.
understand
Right.
And he
why
told
these
me if
parents
I
care
ever
for their
got pulled
children?
over by
Yes,
the
I
cops,
do.
I was
And
to
again,
turn off
he's
the
been in
car,
government
pull out
47
the
years. He
keys,
never
put
did
them
a
on
thing
the
except in
dashboard, and after that,
1994,
put my hands
when
on
he
the
did
wheel
such
and
harm
leave them there
to the black community.
until the
And they
cop
were
gave me
called, and he
direct
called them super
instructions to
predators.
produce
And he said
my
that. He
license
said it,
or
super
registration.
predators.
At which
And they
point,
kept
I
never
was
lived
supposed
that
to
down.
inform the police
1994,
that I was
the
going
crime
to
bill,
reach into
the
my
super
pocket,
predators.
grab my license,
Nobody
reach
has
into my
done
glove
more for the
box, and
black
grab my registration.
community than Donald Trump. And if
I
you
am
look,
white
with the exception
presenting.
of Abraham Lincoln, possible exception, but the exception of Abraham Lincoln, nobody has done what I've done. Criminal justice reform.
Oh, this explains the Abe
Obama
Lincoln
and
memes.
Joe didn't
Yeah.
do it. I don't even think they tried because they had no chance at doing it. They might have wanted to do it, but if you had to see the arms I had to
Who the
twist to
fuck
get that
changed
done,
my name in
it was
Discord?
not a pretty picture, and everybody knows it, including some very liberal people that
Is it adorable
cried in
Trupsy
my
Wupsy?
office. They cried in the Oval Office. 2 weeks later,
it
they're
is
out saying, "Gee, we have to
currently
defeat
adorable
him."
drunk Trumps.
Criminal justice reform, prison reform, opportunity zones with Tim Scott, a
If you'd like to
great
see that name,
senator
become a
from
patron today.
South Carolina. He came in with this incredible idea for opportunity
like the
zones.
stream.
It's one of the most successful programs. People don't talk about it. Tremendous investment is being made. Biggest beneficiary, the
fucking
black
hell.
and Hispanic communities.
starting to feel
And
this.
then historically black colleges and universities. After 3 years of
My
coming
bottle's
to the
almost
office,
empty as
I
well.
love some of those guys. They were great. They came into the office.
Mine too.
And I said, what are you doing? After 3 years, I said, why do you keep coming back? Because we have no funding. I said, you don't have to come back every year. We have to come back because President
Proper
Obama
12 or
would never give
Jameson's,
them
everyone.
long-term
Pick
funding.
your whiskey and I will drink
did.
it.
10-year long-term funding, and I gave them more money than they asked for because they said, I think you need more. And I said, the only bad part about this is I may never see you again because I got very friendly with them. And they like me and I like them. But I
See,
saved.
here's where they fucking got. He
Colleges
muted
and
him
universities.
mid-sentence.
And we're going to talk about both of your records.
That
But
was
your
pretty
response to that, Vice
My
President.
response to that is I never, ever said what he accused me
Yes,
of saying.
yes, fucking
The fact of
Biden.
the matter is, in
You
2000,
called
though,
black people
after the crime
predators.
bill had
You
been
were
in
complaining
the law
about
for a
schools
while.
turning into
This is
a
the guy who
racial
said,
jungle.
"The problem
You
with the
are
crime bill
on
is not
record
enough people in
saying
jail.
this.
There's
This
not
is
enough people in jail."
fucking
And go on my
written
website, get the
in
quote, the
stone
date
from
he
when
said
it happened
Not enough
in the
people. He
90s.
talked
I-
about
Even big-
He's
marauding
lying. I'm
gangs,
gonna take a drink anyway.
Young gangs and the people who were going to maraud our city. This is the guy who in the Central Park five innocent
Not
black
good.
kids, he continued to push for making
They're
sure
just dying.
that they got
I'm
the
already
death penalty.
drunk.
None of them were
It's a
none of them
shitty,
were guilty.
kind
I've got
of
two
thing.
whiskeys, everyone, by the way.
Crimes they were
It's
suggested.
Jameson's or
Look,
Proper
and
12.
talk about
Pick
granted,
one, and I will drink
he did
that.
in
Hold on,
fact
wait
let
the
Yeah,
fuck?
yeah, no,
people
it's
committed
happened to him
20
all the
people
time.
sentences.
I don't know why
We
it
committed over
happens.
1,000 people.
Billy, what the fuck did you
Over
write?
1,000.
Yeah,
The
every
very
it doesn't
law
matter what
he's
you can say
talking
hello,
about is a
and it
law
gets
that, in
the
fact,
Google moderator team delete
initiated
it.
by Barack
Why does
Obama.
Google hate you,
And
Billy?
secondly,
What do you
we're in a
say?
situation here where
I'm really
the
sorry,
federal
Billy.
prison
I
system
really
was
am. It
reduced
happened
by
in PMQs on Wednesday.
38,000 people under our administration. And one of these things we should be doing, there should be no.
And yes, Ken, he
no
did
minimum
actually tell a lie if he said
mandatories
the
in
fact.
law.
Prop
That's why I'm
12.
offering $20 billion
All right,
to
I'll go get
states to
that.
change their state laws to eliminate minimum mandatories and set up drug courts.
Got
No
the
one should be going to
screenshots.
jail.
Send it to me,
if they
Karma.
have
I
a
need to
drug
see what he
problem.
said.
They should be going to rehabilitation, not to jail. We should fundamentally change
Thank
the
you.
system,
Let's
and that's
go.
what I'm going to do.
But why did
This
you
is
do
the
it
biggest,
4 years
the
ago?
biggest
Why
statement
didn't
against
you do
Biden.
that
By the
4
way,
years ago,
it's
even
all
less
these
than that? Why
statements that
didn't
he
you
says
do
like,
it?
I'm
You're
going to
vice
fix this,
president.
I'm going to
You
do
keep talking
this,
about all these
and
things you're going to do, and
Trump
you're gonna
makes
do this,
the
but you were there
damning
just
the
a short
damning
time
question,
ago,
which is
and
why
you guys did
didn't you
nothing.
do it?
You know, Joe, I ran because of you. I ran because of Barack Obama, because you did a poor job. If I thought you did a good job, I would have never run. I would have never run. I ran because of you. I'm looking at you now. You're a politician. I ran because of you.
All right,
I
Vice President
ran
Biden, your response
because
to
of
that, and then I do
you.
have some questions.
That's a
for you.
kick it. That's a rubber like.
What a
I hope
fucking
he doesn't look
statement,
at me
man.
because
I
what's
love
happening
it.
here is, you know who I
He did do it 'cause
ran
politicians
because
suck.
of you.
You know his character. You know my character. You know our reputations for honor and telling the truth. I am anxious to have this race. I'm anxious
to see this take place too.
I am
Look at
the
your
character
fucking
of the country is on the
soulless,
ballot.
pupilless
Our character is
eyes.
on the
Look at this
ballot.
shit.
Look at us closely.
I'm sorry
Let
about
me
the
ask some
very
follow-up.
pathetic
Please
burps.
respond, and then we're going to have
stuff
follow-up
is true
questions.
about Russia, Ukraine, China, other countries, Iraq.
I'm not throwing up
If
on my
this is
chest,
true,
okay?
then he's a
I'm not
corrupt
cognitive
politician.
thought.
So don't give me the stuff about how you're this innocent baby. Joe, they're calling you a corrupt politician.
He was an innocent
No,
baby. He was
Here's
sniffing
and
himself.
Trump brings up the
I wanna
Hunter
stay on the
Biden
issue
story.
of
Here we
race.
go
We're
again.
talking
Look at
about
the
the issue.
laptop from hell.
President Trump,
We're talking about
we're
race right now.
Oh, the
now, but I
laptop.
do want to stay on the issue of race. President Trump,
And I
you've
have to
just
respond to that.
Please,
Because look,
very
there
quickly.
are 50 former
There are 50
national intelligence
former
folks
national
who
intelligence
said that
folks.
what this he's accusing
Can't
me
imagine why
of
they
is a
fucking-
Russian plant. They have
It's
said
not
that this
Russia.
has all the
The
characteristics.
DNI said
Five
no.
former heads of the
DNI
CIA,
said there was
both
no
parties,
Russian
say
that
what
the
he's
laptop
saying
was
is a bunch
genuine.
of garbage. Nobody
The
believes it
lawyer
except
for Hunter
his and his
Biden
good friend Rudy
literally
Giuliani.
said,
You mean the laptop
literally
is now
said,
another
hey,
Russia,
can we
Russia,
get
Russia
that
hoax?
laptop
You
That's
got it.
back?
exactly what.
Is this
that's
where you're
exactly
going?
what.
This
was
is
told.
where he's going.
It's an interruption,
the
right?
laptop is Russia,
Yeah.
Russia,
Gentlemen,
Yeah.
Russia.
I want to stay on the issue of race.
You
okay?
have to be kidding. Here we
Mr.
go
President,
again with Russia.
We're going to continue on the issue of race. Mr. President,
I
you've
have work on
described
six.
the
Here
Black
comes
Lives
BLM.
Matter movement as a symbol of hate.
This is
You've
gonna get
shared a
bad.
video of a man chanting white power to millions of your supporters. You've
Let's
said
just
that
hope
black
that Biden
professional
doesn't say it.
athletes exercising their First Amendment
Please
rights
don't
should
say
be
it.
fired.
I
What do you
beg.
say to Americans
I
who say that
beg
kind
he
of language
doesn't.
from a president is contributing to a climate of hate and racial strife?
Well, you have to understand, the first time I ever heard of Black Lives Matter, they were chanting pigs in a blanket, talking about police. Pigs, talking about our police. Pigs in a
That was
blanket,
during
fry
the
'em
fucking
like
Michael
bacon.
Brown protest.
I said, that's a horrible thing. And they were
Ferguson.
marching down the street. And that was my first
remember
glimpse
watching
of
that in
Black Lives
college.
Matter. I thought it was a terrible thing. As far as my
You so screwed,
relationships
Meg. Me
with
too.
all people, I think I have great relationships with all people.
I'm the
I
least
am
racist
the least
person in this
racist
room.
person in this room.
Yes.
What do you say to Americans who are concerned by that rhetoric?
I don't
and by
know.
the,
I mean, I
the
don't know
videos?
what to say. I got
big
criminal
dick energy
justice
again.
reform done and
Oh,
prison
yeah.
reform
Well,
and
I mean, he's not
opportunity
boasting about
zones. I took
COVID,
care
so I
of
don't have to
black
drink.
colleges
That's
and
good.
universities. I don't know what to say.
By the way,
they
for
can say
everybody who's
anything.
concerned
I
in the
mean,
chat, I
they
have
can
water
say
and seltzer
anything.
with me as
It's a
well.
very. It makes me sad because I am the least racist person. I can't even see the audience
because
because
it's
it's so dark.
Okay, when
But
I
don't
first
care
heard that,
who's
I
in the
thought he was
audience.
making
I'm
a
the least
racist fucking
racist
comment
person in this room.
about black
Okay,
people
Vice
in
President
the
Biden,
audience.
let me ask you very quickly, and then I have a follow-up question for you.
Abraham Lincoln here is the most
racist
racist president.
Oh no, I like that. I like that. No, I like that.
Fire.
That's a good one.
Every single one.
He just called
Started off
Trump
his campaign
Abraham
coming down the
Lincoln.
escalator
Yeah, I
saying,
know, I
"Get
like
rid
that.
of those
What?
Mexican
I love
rapists."
that.
He's banned Muslims because they're Muslims. He has
Is that
moved around,
insults Trump?
made everything
Okay,
worse
he didn't ban
across the
Muslims because they're
board.
Muslims.
He
There was
says
already
to
a travel
the
ban
poor
in
boys,
place.
Last time we were on
But the travel
station,
ban
he said, "I told them to stand
extended
down
to
and
North
stand
Korea.
back." Come on.
Yeah,
This guy is a dog
as
whistle
is
about
well
as big as a
established.
foghorn.
President Trump, I'm going to
Mohammed
give you 10 seconds
Kim
to
Jong
respond, and then I have a
Un
follow-up.
You
is
made
a
reference
renowned
to
Muslim.
Abraham Lincoln. Where did that come in? I mean,
You said
where
you're
did that-
Abraham
No,
Lincoln.
where did that?
And
no,
then this
no.
is where
You
I was
said
like,
not
why are these
since
two old
Abraham Lincoln
fucking men
has
talking to each
anybody
other?
done what I've done for the black community?
And
No,
I'm
he
I didn't
didn't.
say
Trust-
I'm
wait, no, he
Abraham
didn't.
Lincoln.
What?
I said not since Abraham Lincoln has anybody done what I've done. for the
LMO5,
black
please
community.
explain.
Now, you have done
Sorry,
nothing
I
other
was
than the
not paying
crime bill,
attention.
which put
Oh, God.
tens of thousands of black men, mostly in jail.
All right, let me-
And you know
let me
what?
a- let me
they
ask
remember
Vice
it
President
because if you
Biden
look
a
at what's
question.
happening with the voting right now,
Let me ask
they
Vice
remember
President
that
Biden
you treated them
about-
very, very badly.
The-
Just
the-
take a look at what's happening out there.
Vice President Biden, let me give you a chance to respond within this context. Crime bills that you supported in the 80s and 90s.
At which you
contributed to
said that they were
incarceration of
going to
tens of
become a
thousands
racial
of young
jungle.
Black men who
Oh,
had small
God.
amounts of drugs in their possession. They are sons, they are brothers, they're fathers, they're uncles, whose families are still to this day, some of them suffering the
Give me a
consequences.
hot second, I'll
so
be right
speak to
back.
those
Okay.
families. Why should they vote for you?
One of the things is that in the 80s, we passed 100%, all 100 senators voted for it, a bill on drugs and how to deal with drugs. It was a mistake. I've been trying to change the since then, particularly the portion on cocaine. That's why I've been arguing that, in fact, we should not send anyone to jail for a pure drug offense. They should be going into treatment across the board. That's what we should be spending money on. That's why I set up drug courts, which were never funded.
So drug
by
rehabilitation,
Republican
I
friends.
tend to agree.
They
Matt
should
Perry,
not
Friends
be going
Actor,
to
had this
jail
debate
for
on British
a
TV
drug
with
or an alcohol problem.
Peter Hitchens
They should be going into
about this.
treatment.
Peter Hitchens took the
Treatment.
position of prison,
That's
prison,
what we've been
prison.
trying to do.
Matt
That's
Perry,
what
being
I'm
a
going
former
to get done,
recovering
because
drug
I think
addict,
the American
said
people
no,
have
you've got
now
to treat it.
seen
And
that,
I
in fact,
tend
it
to
was a
agree with Matt
mistake
Perry on
to
this one,
pass
oddly
those
enough.
laws relating to drug, but they were not in the crime bill.
But
Okay,
why
so-
didn't he get it done? See, it's all talk, no action with these politicians. Why didn't he get it done? That's what I'm going to do when I become president. You were vice president along with Obama as your president, your leader, for 8 years. Why didn't you get it done? You had 8 years to get it done. Now you're saying you're going to get it done because you're all talk and no action, Jim.
We got a
Your
lot of it
response.
done. We released
You didn't get
38,000. We
anything
got
done.
38,000 prisoners left from the.
You got
out-
nothing done.
38,000 prisoners were released.
Interruption,
from federal
everyone, by the way.
prison.
Take a drink.
There were over 1,000 people who were given clemency. In fact, we're the ones that put in the legislation saying we could look at pattern and practice of police departments and what they were doing, how they were conducting
Biden's actually
themselves.
right
I
on
could go
something
on,
here
but
about
we began
decriminalisation
the
he's
process.
right?
We began the process.
Shocker.
We
About
lost
treating
an election. That's
drug
why
crimes,
I'm running
treating
to win
them,
back
not
that
just
election
sticking them
and
in
change
prison.
his terrible policy.
I
Quick
just
response,
asked,
and then we're
I
gonna
just
move
asked
on
one
to climate
question.
change.
Why didn't you do it in the 8 years, a short time
I
ago?
think Trump has a
Why
good point,
didn't you
though.
do
This
it? You
is
just
why
said, I'm
don't
going
you
to do
do it,
that.
though.
I'm going to
Yeah,
do
I
that."
do think you kind of.
You put tens
Because-
of thousands of mostly black young men in prison. Now you're saying you're going to
Trump's
undo that.
back at
Why
my
didn't you
wisdom.
get it done? You had 8 years with Obama. You know
Yes,
why, Joe?
please do.
Because you're all talk and
Oh,
no
yeah,
action.
Trups,
All right,
you owe us
Vice
one
President Biden,
drink,
and then
by the
we're
way.
going to move on to the next section.
We had a Republican Congress.
That's it. Republican Congress. That was the only reason why you didn't pass the bill. You would have to introduce
All right.
that bill as a
move on to our
legislator.
next section.
Like I
Biden,
did with
that's not
criminal
your
justice
job.
reform. I had
Okay.
to talk Democrats into it.
Gentlemen,
did
we're,
what we
we're
all
running out of
did.
time,
Oh,
so
here
we
we go.
got to get
Here
on
we
to
go.
climate
Fucking climate
change,
change.
please. You both have very
Hems and
different
haws
visions
on
on
his
climate
climate change plan.
President Trump, you say
Oh,
that
no.
environmental regulations have hurt jobs in the energy sector. Vice President Biden, you have said you see addressing climate change as an opportunity to create new jobs.
By the way, hems
For
and
each of
haws
you,
means
how
to
would you
avoid
both combat
committing
climate
oneself,
change and
as
support
in,
job growth at the same
Oh,
time?
okay.
Starting with you, President
like,
Trump,
be
you have
hesitant
2
or
minutes
indecisive.
uninterrupted.
Thank you.
So we have the Trillion Trees program. We have so many different programs. I do love the environment, but what I want is the cleanest, crystal clear water, the cleanest air.
Trump
We
just
have the
ranted, take a
best,
drink. That's not part of
lowest
the
number
fucking
in
game, Joe.
carbon emissions,
take a drink,
which
everyone.
Is a big standard
Trump's
that
is
I notice
ranting.
Obama goes with all the time. Not
in
Joe.
the
I haven't
rules.
heard Joe use the term because I'm not sure he knows what it represents or means.
House
but I have
rules
heard
suck.
Obama use it. And we have the best.
Don't say first
carbon
names.
emission
Don't point with your
numbers
finger,
that we've had in
or your hand or
35
anything.
years.
Double tap your
Under
drink
this
on the table.
administration, We are
House
working
rules
so well with
fucking
industry, but here's what we
blew,
can't
man.
do.
I got
Look at
ruined
China,
on house
how
house
filthy it
rules
is.
every time.
House
Look at
rules were
Russia.
worse. Whenever
Look
we
at
would have
India.
these things, by the way,
It's
I did this shit in
filthy.
college.
The
Same.
And we
air
would
is
post
filthy.
up. We would,
The Paris
fucking
Accord,
my,
I took us
my,
out
my
because
roommate
we were going
Mike
to have to spend
would fucking write
trillions
up
of dollars,
the
and
fucking
we were treated
rules
very
and like
unfairly.
add
When
like
they put us
pictures
in
and
there, they did us a
shit
great
on paper,
disservice.
right?
They were going
And
to
he
take
would
away our
tape them
businesses.
to the
I
wall.
will not sacrifice
And that would be the
tens of
rules we
millions of
played
jobs,
by.
thousands and thousands
I
of
tell you,
companies
we
because
were
of the Paris
destroyed.
Accord. It was so
that a Trump's
unfair.
rant?
And then
China doesn't kick
we would just
in
leave
until
them up. We
2030.
would just leave them up as
Russia goes back
posterity,
to
so
a
people
low
will come in and be like,
standard,
"What the fuck are
and
these?"
we
And they're like, "These are our
kicked in
drinking
right
game
away.
rules."
It would have
Oh, and actually, question in
terribly
chat.
unfair.
Quick,
destroyed
good
our
question.
business.
Squirrel
So,
AIDS. How many follow-up
you ready?
questions has Biden
We have
received?
done
A
an
lot.
incredible job
He's had
No,
a lot.
follow-up questions
The
that
cleanest air,
Biden
the
has
cleanest
has
water,
been
and the
like
best carbon emission
5 or
standards that we've
6.
seen
Trump
in
has
many, many
received
years.
several
President Biden. We
haven't destroyed our
times the
industries.
amount. And
Vice
the reason
President
I say
Biden,
that
2
is
minutes
because
to you,
Trump was
uninterrupted.
able to get 3 questions on
Climate
just his
change,
taxes.
climate warming,
The
global warming is
the
next
Hunter
to simple
Biden
threat to
emails got
humanity.
1 follow-up
We have a
question.
moral obligation.
Yeah, I kind of wonder why sarcasm
And we're
sign
told
here.
by all the leading scientists in the world we don't have much time. We're going to pass the point of no
Cannabinoids
return
cannot
within
be
the next 8 to
replicated.
10 years.
I would like them to
4 more
be.
years of this man eliminating all the regulations that were put in by us to clean up the climate. climate to clean up to limit the limit of emissions.
I will say this.
Will put us in a position where we're going to be in real
Trump looks
trouble.
calm.
Here's where we have a great opportunity. I was able to get both all the
I'm not saying
environmental
Biden doesn't either, by the
organizations
way.
as well
It's
as
just
labor. The
Trump
people worried about
is just
jobs,
calm.
to support my climate plan.
Yes,
because
true.
what it does,
But
it
I
will
think
create
the reason why
millions
Biden
of
got
new
aggressive
good-paying jobs. We're going to
is
invest
really
in,
just
for
because,
example, 500,000, 50,000,
it was just
50,000
because of
charging
whatever drugs he
stations
was on was
on
fucking
our
wearing
highways,
off.
so that we can own an electric car
By
market
the
in
way,
the future.
we've had like 109 at the top and 81 right now, but I need to see some more likes on this video.
Existing buildings,
YouTube algorithm,
buildings,
guys.
2 million existing homes,
Yes.
and
You've seen other
retrofit them so
videos,
they
you know
don't
the
leak
deal.
as much energy, saving
I would
hundreds of
appreciate
millions
it,
of barrels of
and
oil
Meg
in the
would too.
process, and creating
I
a
do.
significant number of jobs.
It fuels
and
my
by
alcohol
the way, the
addiction.
whole idea of what this is all going to do, it's going to create millions of jobs.
Oh, dear.
And it's going to clean the environment. Our health and our jobs are at stake. That's what's happening. And what right now, by the way, Wall Street firms indicated that my plan will in fact create
18.6 is a very
18.6 million
specific
jobs,
number.
7 million more than his. This is from Wall Street. And I'll create $1 trillion more in economic growth than his proposal does. Not on climate, just on the economy.
President Trump, your
They came out and said very strongly, $6,500 will be taken away from families under his plan, that his plan is an economic disaster. If you look at what he wants to do, if you look at his plan,
Nothing
his
to do with
environmental
climate.
plan, you know who developed it?
AOC plus
three. They know nothing about the climate. I mean, she's got a good line of stuff, but she knows nothing
that
about
Trump
the
actually
climate.
thought
And
Biden
they're
was
all
calling him
hopping
Abe
through
Lincoln. I mean,
hoops for
he literally
AOC plus
did.
3. Look, their real plan costs $100 trillion.
He did
If
actually
we had the best
call him
year
Abe
in the
Lincoln.
history of our country,
He
for
said
100
Abe Lincoln
years,
right here.
we would
Yeah.
not even come close to a number like that. When he says buildings, they want to take buildings down because they want to make bigger windows into smaller windows. As far as they're concerned, if you had
He
no
did
window,
not
it would
say
be a
everyone
lovely
black
thing.
is on food stamps.
This is
No,
the
he didn't
craziest
literally
plan
say that. He
that
implied it.
anybody has ever
It was
seen.
more, yeah,
But this
it was
wasn't
very,
done
Yeah,
by
it was an
smart
implication,
people.
and I'm
This
taking my
wasn't done
liberties
by
with that.
Anybody, frankly,
as
I
well.
don't even know how
Yeah.
it could be
Fair
good
enough.
politically.
You do it-
They
I'd
want
do
to
it-
spend
I'd do it to anyone.
$100 trillion. That's their real number. He's trying to say. it was
Hey,
six.
what can I say about the same guy who said, if you don't
They
vote for
wanna
me,
knock
you're not
down
black?
buildings and build new buildings with
did say
little,
that. I do remember
tiny,
that.
small
Hey,
windows.
man, I'm
And
just
many other things.
saying.
And many other
Oh,
things.
Let me have the Vice
also,
President
also,
respond, and
poor
we're running out
kids
of
is
time.
just
We have
as
a lot
smart
more
as white
questions.
kids.
Our country.
That
Let's
was
hear from
also
the
a
Vice
comment
President.
from
I have a
Biden.
number more questions.
I don't know where he comes from. I don't know where he comes up
I
with
mean,
these numbers.
look, I give people a lot of credit,
Give
but
me a
like
break.
this guy
This
has
plan
repeatedly
was-
gasped
this plan
about
endorsed by every
black people in
every
particular.
major environmental group
that
and
oh,
every
also
labor group.
how about the
because
Hispanic
they know the
population
future
is a
lies.
lot more culturally
Future lies
diverse than the
must be
black
able to breathe,
population.
and they know they're good jobs.
That was
in getting
also
us
a
there.
comment.
And by the
Did
way,
no one
the
forget that
fastest
one?
growing
That
industry
one's
in
another
America
one. I think Biden is actually very, very
electric-
fucking racist.
Solar energy and wind. He thinks wind causes cancer. Windmills. It's the fastest
saw
growing
that,
job.
yes.
He did
And
with
they
the
pay good
golf
prevailing
course, didn't he?
wages,
Because he wanted to get rid of
45,
the
50
ones
bucks
near
an
his
hour.
Scottish golf
We
course.
can grow
I
All
remember
these
that.
things were
and we
true.
can be
The
cleaner
black,
if we
the
go
if you
the
don't
route
vote for me,
proposed.
you ain't black was on
President
Charlemagne the
Please
God.
respond, and then I have to
We are
follow.
energy
if
independent
you
for the first
don't,
time.
what was
We
the other
don't
one?
need
It was,
all of these countries that we had to fight war over because we needed their energy. We are
What the
energy
fuck did I just
independent.
say?
I know more about wind than you do. It's extremely expensive. Kills all
Oh,
the
yeah, I like
birds.
this.
It's
Trump
very
goes, "I know
intermittent,
more about
got
wind
a lot
than
of
you."
problems, and they happen to make the windmills in both
Yeah,
Germany
it's that
and China,
generation, but
and
I
the
think they're
fumes
really
coming up,
closeted
if you're a
racist. I
believer
mean,
in
this guy's
carbon
been in
emission,
what?
the
In fucking
fumes
politics
coming
for the
up
last
to make
47
these
years?
massive windmills is more
The
than
point about
anything that we're talking
carbon
about with
emissions
natural
generated
gas, which
to
is very
make
clean.
a
One other thing.
one of these
Find me a
wind
scientist
Solar.
turbines.
said that.
I love solar.
He's right.
But solar doesn't quite
Solar
have
as
it
well.
yet.
Solar is
It's not
incredibly
powerful yet
toxic to make.
to really run our
And
big.
I'm
Solar
going
does
to
not
use
have
an
power.
appeal to
compete
authority.
with the world.
I use this
So
from my own
it's all a
background.
pipe
It is
dream.
genuinely
But you know what we'll
quite
do?
bad.
We're going to have the greatest economy in the world. But if you want to kill the
All right.
economy, get rid of your oil industry. You want. And what about fracking?
All right,
Now,
let me
now we
let
have
me
to
have
ask
let
him
me
about
allow
fracking.
Vice
Oh, I
President
love
Biden
this.
to respond.
Never said I oppose fracking.
You said it on tape.
I did show the tape. Put it on your website.
I like how he
Put
just
it
puts
on.
his
Put it on
hand
the
up
website.
like,
The
yes,
fact of the matter
go.
is, flat lying.
Yes,
Would you rule out
post
banning
it,
fracking?
friends.
I do rule out
Go,
banning
put it
fracking
on my
because the
website.
answer, we need other industries to transition to get to ultimately a complete zero emissions by 2025. What I will do with fracking over time is make sure that
Fracking
we
is a
can
very,
capture the
it's a bit
emissions from
up in the air at
fracking,
the moment.
capture the emissions from gas.
Actually,
We can
this
do
gets-
that,
this gets
and we can
really
do that
fucking
by investing
damning.
money and doing it.
So
But it's a
let's
transition
watch. Really,
to that.
really interesting.
I have one more question in this pod, and then
Excuse
we
me,
have.
he was against fracking. He said it. I will show that to you tomorrow. I
Good.
am against fracking. Until he got the nomination, went to Pennsylvania, then he said, but you know what, Pennsylvania? He'll be against it very soon because his party is totally against it.
Fracking on federal land, I said.
not say
No
that.
fracking
You
and
said
or
fracking.
oil
You
on
didn't say
federal
fracking.
Let
land.
me ask this
I
final
did.
question in this section, and then I want to move on to our final section. President Trump, people of color are much more likely to live near oil refineries and chemical plants. In Texas, there are families who worry the plants near them are making them sick. Your administration has rolled back regulations on these kinds of facilities. Why should these families give you another 4 years in office?
The families that we're talking about are employed heavily, and they are making a lot of money, more money than they've ever made. If you look at the kind of numbers
Corey,
that we
I'm actually
produce for
down with that
Hispanic
in chat.
or
I'm not
black,
down with fracking.
Yeah, I
Asian,
agree. Yeah.
it's 9 times greater the percentage gain
I'm down with that.
than it was
I think
under
fracking
in 3
is a
years
dangerous
than it was
environmental
under
thing.
8 years.
However, I also
of the
recognize
two of
the
them,
benefit
to put it
of the
nicely.
natural gas that it produces.
9 times
It's
more.
one of those
Now,
give and take kind of things, but I
Somebody
don't
lives,
like
I
to
have
give and
not
take
heard
with
the
people's
numbers or the
lives.
statistics that you're
So
saying.
I'm down
but they're
with
making
that.
a tremendous
Honestly,
amount of money economically.
I'm down
We
with them
saved it,
fixing
and I saved
the
it again
water
a number
in
of
lot
months
these
ago when
places.
oil
I'm,
was crashing because
fully
of
on
the
board.
pandemic.
Isn't there a
We
drinking
saved
rule
it.
for him saying
we
he
got, say
saved
what you want about
something?
relationship. We got Saudi Arabia,
It
Mexico,
was him
and
boasting about,
Russia
hey, beat
to
COVID,
cut back
failing to
way
deny
back.
white
We saved our
supremacy,
oil
bringing up the
industry,
Hunter
and
and
now
Marco
it's very
story.
vibrant again.
Interrupts
And everybody has
or
very
lies.
inexpensive
Nah, we're good,
gasoline.
we're good.
Remember
Vice
that.
President Biden, your response, and then
Fails
we're
to
going to
answer
have a
the
final
question is
for both
also
of you.
drink
My
one either.
response is that those people live on what they call fence lines. He doesn't understand this.
Yeah, what the fall
They
asleep.
live near chemical plants that, in
I got
fact,
shit to do
pollute.
tonight.
Chemical plants and oil plants and
It's only
refineries that
fucking 6
pollute.
o'clock.
I used to
6:30.
live near that when I was growing up in Claymont, Delaware. And all the more oil refineries in Marcus Hook and the Delaware River than there is any place, including in Houston at the time. When my mom get in the car and when there was first frost to drive me to school, turn in the windshield wiper, there'd be oil slick in the window. That's why so many people in my state were dying and getting cancer. The fact is, those frontline communities, it doesn't matter what you're paying them, it matters how you keep them safe. What do? And you impose restrictions on the pollutants the pollutants coming out of those fence line communities.
Okay, I have one final
Would he
question.
close
It
down the
falls-
oil
It
industry?
falls.
Would you close
It
down the
falls-
oil
By the way, I
industry?
would transition from the oil industry, yes.
Oh,
I will
that's a big
transition.
statement.
It is a big statement.
That's a-
because
Why would
stop
you?
Why would
that
you
he
do that?
says
Because
to I
the
will
oil
transition
industry
away
pollutes
from
significantly. Here's the
Interruption.
deal. But you
That's a
can't
big
do that.
statement.
Yeah.
Well, if you let me finish the statement, because it has to be replaced by renewable energy over time, and I'd stop giving to the oil industry. I'd stop giving them federal subsidies. You won't give federal subsidies to the gas. Excuse me, to solar and wind.
Yeah.
Why are we giving it to oil industry?
We actually do
All
give
right.
it to solar and wind.
We
And
have
that's
one
maybe the
final
biggest
question.
statement in
Interrupts.
terms of business. That's the biggest statement.
Okay.
Because
We have
basically
one
what he's
final
saying
question,
is he is
Mr.
going to
President.
destroy the oil industry. Will you
Oh,
remember
the
that,
greatest
Texas?
statement of this
Okay.
fucking
Remember that,
debate. Will you
Pennsylvania?
remember that,
Vice
Texas?
President
Will you
Biden, let me
remember
give
that,
you 10 seconds
Oklahoma?
to
Will you
respond,
remember
and
that,
then I have to
Ohio?
get to the final question.
Isn't Texas slowly but going green
Takes
blue
everything
anyway?
out of context, but the point
Yes, it
look,
is because people
we
from
have to
California
move
are running to
toward
Texas because
a
they don't
net
have the
zero
same kind of
emissions.
income tax
The
as
first place to do
California.
that by the year 2035 is in energy production. By 2050, totally.
All right. One
Is he gonna
final
get
question
China
to
to
both
do
of
it?
you. No, we're finished with
Is
this.
he
We
going
have
to
to
get
move on
China
to
to
our
do it?
final question.
gonna
We have to move
rejoin
on to our
Paris
final
Join
Accord,
Paris
though.
Accord to
Oh,
make China
boy.
Oh, she's lost
what
control
they
now.
need to
She's
do.
lost
All right,
control.
this is about leadership.
Yeah, it's the last
gentlemen.
question,
And
so
this
I'm
first
okay with her
question
losing control.
does go to you, President Trump. Imagine this is your inauguration day. What will you say in your address to Americans who
I
did
wanted
not
to
vote
say,
for you?
fuck
You'll each
all
have
you
1 minute,
Democrats.
starting with you, Mr.
We have to make our country totally successful as it
No, I'm
was
kidding.
prior to the
I just liked him to
plague
do a
coming
middle
from
finger and
China.
walk off.
Now we're rebuilding it. And
Swagger.
we're doing record numbers, 11.4 million jobs in a short
I
period of
feel
time.
you,
et cetera.
Psycho
But
Magnus.
I will
I
tell
would
you,
rather
go
they
back.
refer to him as former vice
Before the
president.
plague came in,
Ah,
just
it's an
before,
honorary
I
thing,
was
isn't
getting
it?
Also,
calls
like,
from people
I
that
don't
were
care enough.
not normally people that would
He's
call
had a
me.
bit too much
They
to drink
wanted
now.
to
He
get
doesn't
together.
give a shit.
We had the best black unemployment numbers
Well, I
in the
mean-
history of our country.
I mean, really, like,
Hispanic,
if you were the vice
women,
president, like
Asian,
former vice president
people
and
with
vice
diplomas,
president,
with
I
no
mean, you
diplomas,
still get
MIT
secret
graduates, number one in
security,
the
so it
class.
really
Everybody
doesn't
had the
matter.
best numbers. And you know what? The other side wanted to get together. They wanted to unify. Success
Brennan
is going to
Hussein
bring
failed
us
policy to
together.
California.
We
Yeah,
are
that
on
is
the
what
road
this
to
is doing.
success. But I'm cutting taxes, and he wants to raise everybody's taxes, and he wants
Oh,
to
his
put new
tax raises are
regulations on everything.
horrific.
He will kill
Oh,
it.
they're
If
awful.
he gets
Even
in,
By the
you
way,
will have a
like,
depression, the
those
likes
that
of which you've
go
never
to
seen.
Texas from
Your
California are those
401ks will
they're
go
the ones
to
that
hell, and it'll be a
supported the
very,
tax
very
raises in their
sad
own
day for
state
this
and then
country.
want to
All
go
right.
to Texas to
Vice
fuck
President
that
Biden,
state.
same question to you. What will you say during your inaugural address to Americans who did not vote for you?
I will say, I'm an American president. I represent all of you, whether you voted for me or against me. And I'm going to make sure that you're represented. I'm going to give you hope. We're going to move. We're going to choose science over fiction. We're going to choose hope over fear. We're going to choose to move forward because we have enormous opportunities to make things better. We can grow this economy. We can deal with the systemic racism. At the same time, we can make sure that our economy is being run and moved and motivated by clean energy, creating millions of new jobs. And that's the fact. That's what we're going to do. And I'm going to say, as I said in the beginning,
Systems are showing.
what is on the ballot here is the character of this country. Decency, honor, respect, treating people with dignity, making sure that everyone has an even chance. And I'm going to make sure you get that. You haven't been getting it the last 4 years.
All right. I want to thank you both
And
for a
that's
very
the
robust
debate.
hour and
Right,
a
hang
half.
on.
of fantastic.
Oh, fucking hell. It's over. We survived. We did it, Trups. My bottle of gin is empty. My proper 12, I've had 3 shots of that. I am feeling a bit merry, but nowhere near as fucked as as the host of this stream, in fact. Judge Adorable Trupsy Wupsy.
I don't want to hear it. Okay.
I'm done with this
Listen.
shit. Fuck all of y'all.
Listen. Fuck it. I don't give a shit. My fiance is judging me from the kitchen.
Yeah, she is. I know she is. I know she fucking is. Amazing. All right. Well, you're the host. How would you like to finish this?
I mean, that's the debate. I would love to hear your guys' comments. If you guys didn't join us for the actual stream itself, you leave your comments down in the comment section down below. Other than that, Omegon, do you have anything to shill this evening?
No, I do not. Judge Adorable Trupsy Wupsy.
Well, fun story. Now do I, because I got home from fucking work. I was traveling out for work last week, and now I'm back home, and I've been dealing with fucking MMORPG fucking bullshit. So I have not made a video, though I have a couple on the possibly going to be in the works. Joe and Karma think I should stream drunk. I'd love to hear your comments about that. But other than that, I think we are done for this evening. I thank you all for joining us. Meg, do you have any final statements before we sign off for the evening?
Proper 12 is disgusting, as is the gin I drank this evening. I hate you all, and I especially hated every moment of that debate. It hurt me.
It was a good time, though. I had a good time.
Yeah.
It's not me this time, it's my fiance.
And we're men of our word. We said we'd do this, and we fucking did it.
We fucking did it.
All right.
All right. Have a good night, everybody. Say good night, Omegon.
Good night, Judge Adorable Trupsy Wupsy.
Good night.
We're done.
I want to hear your shit, Meg.